And welcome to the pregame show of the Aiken Standard Game of the Week. Tonight we are at Haygood Stadium, a place where I first played on this field back about 50 years ago. It's nice to always come home and see the good old Haygood Stadium. Not much has changed except the scoreboard back there behind us. That's a beautiful new scoreboard. That's very impressive that they got that this year, and they got a new track. That's a lot better track than the one that I ran around with dummies on my head back in Coach Buck's days.
I was wondering about that. That might explain some things.
Yeah, it might explain a little bit. And it's interesting, they've got the field divided off. If you're coming from home and coming out here late, South Aiken will enter in the north end zone from that gate in the north end zone. So you've got to figure all that out. South is behind us, so not on the scoreboard side. Usually people come in on this would be the west side of the stadium. Only Aiken participants, people sitting on the Aiken side, are coming in that side. So think about that as you go along. I think this is going to be a good football game, Coach.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited about this game. This is the first time. We normally show up an hour and a half before the game time to get prepared and so on. And I never have any trouble parking. Tonight, I was afraid I wouldn't make it here on time because it is crowded out there in the parking lots. They got a lot of kids tailgating. They got people coming. I am really excited after the paper, I think, did a nice job this week emphasizing this rivalry, okay? Yeah. And when I first came down to Aiken, one of the things I heard over and over again by the people that were into high school football was, it's too bad that they had to separate Aiken into Aiken and South Aiken because we could compete with anybody at that. But when they did that a number of years ago, it did create this rivalry. And Aiken's had the better part of it for most of the series. For the last few years, South Aiken has been the better team. I agree with you. Tonight should be a good ball game.
Yeah, South Aiken got a chance to win 3 years in a row, something they've only done once in this matchup. So we'll see if they can do that. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the other games in the area, and then we'll come back and talk some more about Aiken, South Aiken. When we return, it's the pregame show at Aiken Standard Game of the Week.
Young, healthy patients without glasses, maybe once every 5 years. So, but if you have glasses, you kind of want yearly visits to make sure you're in the right spectacles. You know, folks over the age of 50 or 55, we generally start wanting yearly visits at that point, because over the age of 50, you have a higher incidence of things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, those kinds of things.
Make an appointment today with one of our 4 doctors at Aiken Ophthalmology.
I knew he was in trouble. I didn't really know that it was a heart attack, but I knew he was in trouble. His right coronary artery was 99% blocked and already collapsed.
So within
Welcome back to the pregame show. Tonight, standing on the field at Haygood Stadium on the campus of Aiken High School, where tonight Aiken hosts South Aiken. We'll get back to that game, but right now we want to talk about some of the other games in the area. I was looking at the pick'ems in the Aiken Standard. You know, we've got 5 pickers in the Aiken Standard. Neither one of us are the pickers in the paper. 5 pickers, 45 picks, 9 games, and only 2 were different. I think there's a lot better matchup than that going on tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about that. First of all, we want to talk about BC. Brooklyn Casey is coming to North Augusta. You missed North Augusta last week. We missed you.
Yeah, I understand. And I understand they played very well against Strom Thurmond.
Great defense.
Great
and the
defense.
offense did better than the first time we saw them.
Okay, yeah, that's my concern about North Augusta throughout the year has been that their offense is just not as explosive as it has been the last several years. They used to be able to score at any time from anywhere, and that carried on for a number of years. This year, they are not as explosive offensively, okay? And Brooklyn Casey's a decent football team, okay? But on the other side of the coin, I think Torres and Collier, those linebackers, and the defense of North Augusta is better than probably Brooklyn Casey has seen. They come in 3-2, North Augusta's 4-1. I think the home field advantage is going to turn that table in that game tonight.
Torres had a great game last week. He was all over the field, and he'll need to get there. Tonight's going to be a little different. Reed Sharpia is the quarterback we've seen Reed before. We'll see him later in the season right here at Aiken High.
Yeah.
He's a really good quarterback. He's a senior, and he's going to throw it probably 80% of the time.
And that's going to be similar to what we're going to see tonight, okay? I think Aiken's going to throw the ball all over the park, and if South Aiken doesn't get pressure on him, that could be a problem there. Same thing for North Augusta. If they can't pressure that quarterback, he's going to put points on the board.
And I'm still not sold on North Augusta. Defensively, they're really good. Offensively, better. They need to improve, and they got to play some great defense at cornerback, strong safety. Those guys are going to be tested tonight. We'll see how that all turns out. Airport is at Midland Valley. This is one of the picks. Colin Damaris went out on a limb and picked Midland Valley.
And I think he's wrong. Last year, Airport won by 56-25 or something. This year, Airport is not quite as strong, but unfortunately, Midland Valley's in one of those situations where they have not won a football game yet this year. They're playing a team that probably has better personnel than they do. I think, unfortunately, for our local team, it'll be another loss, and I hate to say that because I'd love to see the kids over at Midland Valley put a win on the board as they go to the second half of the season.
I agree. That'd be a heck of an upset. Airport, historically very good, and they're going to throw the ball around a bit, too. Strom Thurmond at Edisto. Strom Thurmond last week, offensively, they had a really, really tough night. They scored 0 points against South Aiken. Edisto's having a pretty good year.
Edisto is 3-1 coming in. I don't think that's a great record. Strom Thurmond, under normal circumstances, I would favor them. I think this is a toss-up game, though, and I'm a little disappointed, once again, in the offense of Strom Thurmond this year. I thought they would be a more explosive team. I think they're solid defensively, but offensively, they just haven't quite clicked yet. Okay, so I think I think this is flip a coin to see who wins this one.
Rushing the ball, that played into their hands last week. Strom Thurmond trying to run, couldn't get anywhere with North Augusta. Quarterback for North Augusta played a lot better, but passing was not something Strom Thurmond could do. So it depends on if Edisto can stop the rushing game. They may be in trouble at Edisto.
Yeah.
All right, Saluda at Silver Bluff. This is another one. Saluda, pretty good football team, and Silver Bluff got a good win. Got tested last week at Swansea, which I thought was coming. I think this is another toss-up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I live very close to Silver Bluff, okay? That's the closest school to the neighborhood that I live in. It's always been a tremendous support group for their football team. They've got a great tradition. They brought back D'Angelo Bryant to coach him, and he had played there, and then, of course, he was an outstanding player when he did that, and then later on, he's done something right, okay? The kids are excited. The players are really playing well, okay? I think they're the most improved team in the county this year, all right? 3-1 coming into this game. I know they're playing a decent ball club, but I think that aura of the Silver Bluff field and the way they've been successful, I think they're going to pull a win out over there.
Saluda's playing for payback. The last time they played, I think it was 39-0.
Ooh.
That was in 1985. 33 years ago. So
we won't count that one.
That's not too much of a payback. A little bit like the Thompson North Augusta game that we talked about earlier in the year. All right, this one pretty much a no-brainer. Allendale Fairfax at Barnwell.
No-brainer, huh? Yeah, I think Barnwell, ranked second in the state in their division. They're clearly the team that has played the best in their division so far this year. They don't have anybody that sticks out stat-wise, but they've got 3 runners that carry the ball. Okay, their quarterback Craig Pender is completing something like 78% of his passes. Okay, if you don't stop the run against Barnwell, you're in trouble to begin with. And when you stop the run, a little play action, and he throws the ball, 78% completion. That's almost unheard of in high school football. Barnwell will have a romp tonight.
I think so too. Barnwell 5-0, Allendale is 0-4. It'd be a tough win for Allendale to get that at Barnwell. 96 at Fox Creek. Now, this one could be really interesting.
I think it's going to be a real interesting ball game. Okay, 96 comes in with an unblemished record so far. They're 5-0. Okay, they've scored 218 points so far. Only given up, 134 they've given up. They may not have their starting quarterback. And last week, without him, they only put up 12 points. Fox Creek is a good team. They're coming off a tough loss last week, but I think Cam Mitchum and company are going to win that football game tonight.
I think so too. I think it's a good chance. Fox Creek lost a close game last week with Crescent at Crescent. They were tied in the fourth quarter. So tonight, this is a must-win for Fox Creek if they want to make some noise in their region.
Yeah.
All right, Rich Spring Minetta at Denmark. Another game. Rich Spring blew them out last year.
42-0 last year.
I don't see that happening this year.
Well, it's rare that you see a team make a 42-point turnaround. Okay, I think Ridge Spring is going to win this football game tonight, but I'm a little bit leery because they've got a completely new offense over at the opponent at Denmark Olar. The coaches put in a spread offense. They're throwing the ball all over the park, and they must be doing something right because last year they took it on the chin. This year they come into this ball game 3-1. That's pretty impressive to me that they put a new offense in and it seems to be working. So I think Ridge Spring has its work cut out for it, but I think they'll probably win this football game. I don't see a 42-point turnaround.
It's going to be a close game tonight, I do believe, and Ridge Spring better be ready to play. Finally, Wagner Sally's at Williston Elko.
And ever since I've been doing these ball games, which is what, 10 years now?
Yeah.
Williston Elko has been the premier team in their region, okay? At the beginning of this season, Wagner Sally put that game on their calendar and they said, circle it. We're going to have to win that game at Williston Elko in order to get further in the playoffs than we want to and to dethrone them. Williston Elko is down a little bit this year in personnel. They're down in numbers. They've had a tough start. They've played against some teams that were in an upper region, upper division, so that explains part of it. But Wagner Sally's a good, solid football team tonight, and I think they're going to get their wish, all right? I think they will win this ball game.
Williston won their first game last week. Again, another close game, I do believe, and wouldn't surprise me at all. Williston's like a caged dog. You better come ready to play. And Wagner Sally, historically, we've seen this before where they get to the middle of the season and they don't necessarily make it over the hump. They've got to learn to do that. Tonight would be a good night for them to get there.
And in their favor, they have put up a lot more points than Williston has so far, and they've allowed a lot fewer points. So I think they come into the ball game with a little bit more consistency. Now, Williston Elko, like I said, you got to go through Williston Elko to win that division. This may be the year that Wagner Sally can do it.
All right, that's a look at all the games in the area. 9 of them are being played. We got one more to talk about. That's Aiken. South Aiken is here to play them, the crosstown rivalry. We'll come back and talk a little bit more of that in the pregame show for the Aiken Standard Game of the Week.
I always ask myself, would I want me to represent me? Would I want a lawyer who is prepared, who is passionate, who is capable? And every day that we represent our clients, we're telling our clients that you can count on us to bring every skill, every ability, and all of our passion in representing your interests. That's what it means to count on Chandler. That means that you can count on us to fight for you.
Aiken Ophthalmology provides high quality, comfortable, and dependable treatment in Aiken and North Augusta. With our newly expanded facility, we now have 4 experienced physicians that are up to date on the latest procedures, and our surgery center offers the finest eye care technology available to better serve you. Make your appointment today with Aiken Ophthalmology.
I had back issues for a while. I kept going back with different complaints. My doctor, he said, surgery's not going to do you any good. So I would recommend to you therapy. After therapy, I'm a lot better. I'm so grateful for that. I'm a lot better. Thanks to Aiken Regional Hospital for the joy that was put back into my life. Now I'm able to get on the floor and play with the children. And it's just a relief.
Gracious.
Yeah. So far, so good, buddy.
Yeah. Welcome back, Haygood Stadium on the campus of Aiken High School for tonight's Game of the Week as Aiken is playing host to South Aiken. They got the new scoreboard back there. Everything's beautiful. The stands are filling up. There's still some seats left if you want to get on out here on the Aiken side and on the South Aiken side. But we're going to have a full house here tonight, and we're looking forward to it. And, you know, Aiken used to dominate this thing. Right?
Yeah.
I went to school here, went to high school at Aiken. That was long before South Aiken ever existed. After that, they went back and forth a little bit. South Aiken went in, and then Aiken in the 90s and the early 2000s ripped off, I think, 19 in a row. And it was just tough. And that included the Dan Pippen era. Dan never beat Aiken High while he was at South Aiken. But finally, they won a few, went even, and now, I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but South Aiken's won the last two, a chance to win 3 in a row, which has only happened once.
Yeah, they do have a chance tonight to win. South Aiken is another team that's, quite frankly, not as explosive as they have been the last few years, okay? And that concerns me a little bit in this ball game. The thing that I like about South Aiken, their defense has been very, very solid, okay? And I think they can cause some real problems for Aiken tonight. Now, Jesse Sanders has got 6 running touchdowns as a quarterback for South Aiken, okay? And they've got some running backs that have really come on a little bit recently, but they've got to move the ball consistently tonight. And I think they'll have an edge because I think they will put some points on. They're going to be able to run the football against Aiken, or they'll be the first team that hasn't been able to do that. Aiken does not defend very well. They give up a lot of points. So therefore, they've got to score a whole lot of points.
Yeah. And South Aiken's not going to pass the ball that much. Jesse Sanders had 100 yards rushing in the first game against Greenwood. I think he's only gotten about 80 yards since that game and the 3 games since. But that just sort of tells me he's distributing it around and he's got some help at running back.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. They've only scored, they come into this ball game with a 2-2 record, 4 games. They've only scored 62 points so far this year. Last year and the year before, they would score 62 points in a game.
Right.
So
right.
Their offense has not been putting points on the board like they used to, but their defense has only given up 70. Flip the coin there, and the Green Hornets, Aiken, they've put 92 points on the board, okay, but they've given up 154. I believe the key to this ball game tonight, South Aiken has got to disrupt the passing game of Aiken. If they do not get to the quarterback and he has time to throw, South Aiken's going to be in trouble because he will put some points on the board. I guarantee you that.
If you look at the Aiken standard stats in the paper this morning, Aiken High has nobody in the top rushers, but they have a lot of wide receivers that are catching passes. And that's the difference between them. All right, we're going to have the invocation in the national anthem, so we'll take a break and we'll come back and get ready for tonight's kickoff between Aiken and South Aiken. You're watching the pregame show on Aiken Standard Game of the Week.
It all started at one family night in Dumfries, Virginia. Family night is for everybody. It's a time for families to do crafts together.
The kids just love going to Chick-fil-A for dinner. Being the single mom and getting everybody ready, it was tough. We would get there a little bit late, like on the tail end of it. Helen saw that I was having trouble getting them to Chick-fil-A for the family night on time and actually got it extended another hour. Noticing things like that, I never really told her how much she affected me, but she did.
Love you.
Young, healthy patients without glasses, maybe once every 5 years. So, but if you have glasses, kind of want yearly visits to make sure you're in the right spectacles. You know, folks over the age of 50 or 55, we generally start wanting yearly visits at that point, because over the age of 50, you have a higher incidence of things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, those kinds of things.
Make an appointment today with one of our 4 doctors at Aiken Ophthalmology.
I knew he was in trouble. I didn't really know that it was a heart attack, but I knew he was in trouble. His right coronary artery was 99% blocked and already collapsed.
So within 10 minutes, they had put a stent in.
I'm so glad that we made that decision to go to Aiken Regional right away.
We definitely made the right decision in going to Aiken Regional.
I don't think we could have gotten better care.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With a revolutionary Michelin Premier tire, even when half worn, it's still safe. thanks to Evergrip technology. The Michelin Premier Tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
I always ask myself, would I want me to represent me? Would I want a lawyer who is prepared, who is passionate, who is capable? And every day that we represent our clients, we're telling our clients that you can count on us to bring every skill, every ability, and all of our passion in representing your interests. That's what it means to count on Chandler. That means that you can count on us to fight for you.
Aiken Ophthalmology provides high quality, comfortable, and dependable treatment in Aiken and North Augusta. With our newly expanded facility, we now have 4 experienced physicians that are up to date on the latest procedures, and our surgery center offers the finest eye care technology available to better serve you. Make your appointment today with Aiken Ophthalmology.
I had back issues for a while. I kept going back with different complaints. My doctor, he said, surgery's not going to do you any good. So I would recommend to you therapy. After therapy, I'm a lot better. I'm so grateful for that. I'm a lot better. Thanks to Aiken Regional Hospital for the joy that was put back into my life. Now I'm able to get on the floor and play with the children. And it's just a relief.
It all started that one family night in Dumfries, Virginia. Family night is for everybody. It's a time for families to do crafts together.
The kids just love going to Chick-fil-A for dinner. Being the single mom and getting everybody ready, it was tough. We would get there a little bit late, like on the tail end of it. Helen saw that I was having trouble getting them to Chick-fil-A for the family night on time and actually got it extended another hour. Noticing things like that, I never really told her how much she affected me, but she did.
Love you.
Move.
Young, healthy patients without glasses, maybe once every 5 years. But if you have glasses, you kind of want yearly visits to make sure you're in the right spectacles. Folks over the age of 50 or 55, we generally start wanting yearly visits at that point, because over the age of 50, you have a higher incidence of things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, those kinds of things.
Make an appointment today with one of our 4 doctors at Aiken Ophthalmology.
I knew he was in trouble. I didn't really know that it was a heart attack, but I knew he was in trouble. His right coronary artery was 99% blocked and already collapsed.
So within 10 minutes, they had put a stent in.
I'm so glad that we made that decision to go to Aiken Regional right away.
We definitely made the right decision in going to Aiken Regional.
I don't think we could have gotten better care.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With the revolutionary Michelin Premier Tire, even when half worn, it's still safe, thanks to Evergrip technology. The Michelin Premier Tire, safe when new, safe when worn. You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With the revolutionary Michelin Premier Tire, even when half worn, it's still safe, thanks to Evergrip technology. The Michelin Premier Tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
competitive. And, when you hear the records of these two teams, you wonder, well, how can that be? All right. One team hasn't won a game in several outings, 2 years at least, okay? And the other team has been very, very successful. But I think it's going to be a dogfight out here tonight, okay? The people are excited. I've never seen a crowd quite like this in this area, okay? Really a neat atmosphere, and I think we're going to have a heck of a football game.
Yeah, they're filled in here on the home side, the Aiken side, which is the side we're on, and the oven, as I've affectionately come to know this press box as. It's not too terribly hot tonight, though it's not exactly chilly by any stretch. Still waiting for the cold front to come through, and if you remember back in August when we had those 2 nice nights, I told you there will be some payback, and we got it for all of September.
Yeah, it's been unseasonably hot, and that's hard to say when you're down south.
It's been unseasonable here for the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. But at any rate, it is nice in the stands. This press box doesn't get air in it, and it's been here since 1957. I think they built Haygood Stadium, and this is the original press box, and it's been painted. It's cleaned up, and at least in that regard. And they got new speakers, which if you watch the pregame show, I'm sure that all of you heard that the speaker cabinets that they use here are much better than what they used to be.
Well, I'm glad that's true, but I wish they had a little air conditioning too.
Yes, that would be nice. I think they have a air conditioner that is down at the other end, and if you sit in front of that, you freeze to death. So might as well sit here, and we'll be big guys and go with it. All right, the captains are moving toward the middle of the field. South Aiken is standing behind their banner, ready to come in, and Aiken has not made the walk in quite yet from the locker room.
And our captains tonight for the visiting South Aiken Thoroughbreds, we've got number 8, Ziggy Harrison, okay, and he could be a big factor in the game tonight. Number 10, Damar Johnson. Number 20, Braden Briatico, and number 63, Joey Simmons. Okay, and for the homestanding Aiken Green Hornets, we've got number 2, Jeremiah Green, number 8, Corey Wallace, number 9, Mason Hall, and number 18, C.J. Hazel.
Very good. Now the Aiken High Green Hornets are headed down the walkway. And that's one of the cool things I can remember growing up, coming to these games, when the players would start coming down the sidewalk, and they're probably a good 2 football fields away when they come out, and the buzz that would be created as here they come, and we're ready to go. And a lot of memories of watching games at Haygood Stadium. We did not come to Haygood last year. We didn't have a single Aiken High game last year. Well, we had the Aiken South Aiken game at South Aiken. So let's see who won the toss. Aiken. I think Aiken High decided to receive. I think they won the toss and elected to receive. So South Aiken will be kicking off and defending the south goal when we get started here in a little while. And interesting, I'm eager to see this quarterback, Wallace, for Aiken High School. He throws the ball. That's something that in the history of Aiken High, Aiken's been fairly well known for their running game, especially in those years in the 90s when they won the state championship, and in the 2000s ran the wing T. So it's going to be different to see Aiken High throw the ball around the field.
Well, he's completed 69 of 132 so far this season for over 1,000 yards, and he has 12 touchdowns. Okay, Jeremiah Green and Jarvis Jones and Stephon Porter are all outstanding receivers, and they all have put some touchdowns on the board. Porter leads that contingent with 5. Jones has 4, and Jeremiah Green has 1. All right. They are good receivers. They've got good size, good speed. That's the challenge for South Aiken tonight, is to control the passing game. As you said earlier in the pregame show, Aiken does not run the ball very, very much at all, but they do throw it well.
South Aiken dressed in all white unis tonight, white jerseys, white pants, white shoes, while the Green Hornets, as usual, in their all green jerseys, green pants. And they come out on the field to a crowd that's hungry for a win tonight. You know this team, they've been Well, both of these teams haven't played for the last 2 weeks. I asked Coach Hamilton before the game, how did the 2 weeks go? And he said he'd prefer not to have to do that. Seems like we have one of these every year now, and he just hopes and prays it comes on their open date week. But this year, not so lucky. And they had open date last week and then had the game off the week before. So both teams had open dates last week. Both teams had games canceled 2 weeks ago. So you know that the kids are eager to get back out here and play football.
I'm sure they are. Aiken is just dying to have a win, and it couldn't be any more spectacular if they get their first win in a couple of years against their rivals, South Aiken. They would love to do that.
All right, the kicker is Ethan Yeomans for South Aiken. And they've changed some of the numbers around, so we may be jumping back and forth trying to figure out who's who. But Yeomans the kicker. 2 men deep for Aiken High.
And Jeremiah Green, number 2, is one of them, one of their leading receivers, also on the special teams. Number 14, Stavon Porter, another one of their wide receivers.
Short kick bounces. Aiken picked it up. It looked like they were going to be battling for it. And South Aiken saying they got it, but there's no signal yet from an official as they unpile them. And yes,
cheering.
There he is, the referee pointed the other way. So Aiken, they seemed to have a little bit of a mix-up between the two as to who was going to take it. Finally, one picked it up, and he was hit almost immediately and fumbled.
Yeah, and it was a tough ball to handle. Okay, I thought he did that well, but as you say, as soon as he touched the football, he was hit, and it immediately came out. Scramble for it, and a huge break right to start the ball game.
So South Aiken, Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line, and now South Aiken trying to get a missing player out here on the field. They may have to call a timeout. Is not sure who's missing. They haven't been able to locate the missing player. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
They've
9,
got 11,
10, 11. They got 11 out there.
Well, here we go again. It always seems that no matter where we are, it's tough to get the first play from scrimmage off in the season.
Well, they're not running the play clock. And apparently we're looking for the ball from the sidelines. And I guess each team has their own set of balls. So they're ready to go. Man in motion, 2 backs in the backfield, Jesse Sanders in the middle. Here's a handoff, straight up the gut. Running over the 20-yard line down to the 18-yard line. And that's number 6,
and that's
Travis Butler, who we talked about in the opening as being one of their running backs, one of their featured backs. Actually, the other one is Nail Ryans, who has the most yards rushing for the season, 146 yards rushing for Butler on the year.
And Sanders is a running threat. I think tonight's going to be a game, the Army against the Air Force.
So 3 split wide to the right. Butler goes in motion, leaves empty backfield. Sanders going to run. We saw this against Greenwood. When it was an empty backfield, he would do a quarterback draw, and he's battling, almost reached the end zone, stopped at the 1-yard line. Pickup of 17 yards. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10, 1st and goal from the 1.
That's an amazing play. There was nobody else in the backfield but him. Okay, so when he turned to the right to fake or ride the man in, there wasn't anybody there. So I think it was a design draw or whatever, but the quarterback, and then he carried about 8 players for several yards right down to the goal line.
He's a big kid. He hands off. Hit it the line, but it looks like he got in the end zone. Touchdown. South Aiken on the board first after the turnover on the kickoff from Aiken High. They go 1, 2, 3 plays into the Tyler Tire end zone, and they lead 6-0. The extra point coming about.
Very impressive.
So Yeoman's coming on to try the point after. High snap, got the ball down, kicked straight through there. 7-0, South Aiken. With only, they got a brand new scoreboard. They have to figure this out. It only took 58 seconds for South Aiken to get on the board tonight, and they lead over Aiken 7-0. Surely not what the home team had in mind.
You know, when we got here tonight, there's a lot of excitement here of the fans. And to come out, be as excited as they've got some kids that are in a blackout kind of thing, you know. They got the bare chest with their writing all over their chests, and they got black uniforms on, and they got a lot of fans. This has been played up in the newspapers all week long, all right, and that is a tremendous start for South Aiken and a horrible start for Aiken. And the fumble itself on the hit on the kickoff is one thing, but their inability to even make what seems was any resistance against 3 running plays, that's a little scary if that's going to happen tonight.
Yes, Aiken won the toss and elected to receive. And that is not what the idea that they had. So we'll kick again. And Aiken will try to make amends. They had a little pooch kick. This time going to kick deeper. And Aiken going to get a good return. Holds on to the football at the 39-yard line. We'll call it 38. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10 for the Fighting Green Hornets.
And on the return was Alex Thomas, number 22.
So our first look this year at Corey Wallace.
Kid's having a very fine season. 12 touchdown passes, over 1,000 yards already.
He's joined in the backfield by Jeremiah Green. 2 split wide to the right, 1 to the left. Rolls to his right, looking downfield, throws, hits the short man. Can't come up with a little low pass. That was intended for DeAndre Bynum. Incomplete, 2nd down and 10.
And with that first defensive alignment that South Aiken put up, they were really giving up the run to the right side and saying, you know, we don't think you're going to run it. And if they had run it, I don't know how they would stop it, but
it was a good job by Wallace. He found the open receiver, just threw it too low. And there's a handoff to the left side. And that goes nowhere. They may lose a yard. I think they'll give him the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down and 10.
Ziggy Harrison and Aaron Mazel in on that touch. Good defense.
So 2 split wide to the left, 2 to the right. Green in the backfield. Next fakes the run, now under pressure. Running away, gets it downfield, incomplete. I think he just threw that one away. And that'll be 4th down. The punting unit will come on. So an auspicious beginning for Aiken High tonight.
I'll tell you what, they put great pressure on the quarterback when he tried to throw that ball. Okay, if they can do that tonight, Aiken is in for a long evening. They stop the run cold, and if they've put pressure on the quarterback, that's going to be a long night for Aiken. They've got to figure out some way to block them, let their quarterback use his talent.
South Aiken scored in 58 seconds. That took Aiken High 57 seconds of the clock to run the 3 plays. Now Aiken waiting for another player to get on the field for the punt. So the kicker is Austin McKay. Kicks away. This rolls inside the 25. Looks like it's at the 24-yard line. That'll be a Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10 for South Aiken. So a little bit longer field than South Aiken started the game at the 36. Took them 3 plays to go 36 yards and take the early lead. Keeping the ball on the ground all 3 plays. And I believe that South Aiken will keep feeding it and handing it off, and quarterback draws and stay away from the throwing the football. 3 split wide to the left. And running it straight downhill, close to the first down.
That's Travis Butler once again, number 6. He's having a good season for South Aiken.
They got 9. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
That was a quiet 9. It didn't look like 9, but
3 split wide to the left. If South Aiken wanted to, they could throw a bubble screen here, and there's only 2 defenders. So they're going in over the middle, and there's a completion, big hit, but he hangs on to the ball and gives the first down. That's number 1, not Jeremiah Green. Check that, Dallas McCaver is the receiver making the catch.
Well thrown by Sanders. He had plenty of time, delivered it right in the middle of that defense. Good reception.
So 2 plays into Hornet territory, and now another run picks up 8-9 yards down to the 40-yard line. South Aiken having their way here in the early going.
South Aiken's got a nice looking offensive line. Pretty stout.
2nd down, 1.5 yards. And goes out wide to the right. Aiken going to stop it for a short gain this time, but it's going to be enough to move the chains. Channel Law Firm 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 38-yard line. I think they gave him maybe the 37.
Stavon Porter, number 14, one of the tacklers. And I believe that was Corey Wallace, number 8 also.
Brings McKeever in motion. Flips it to McKeever. No, he keeps. Did a little pump fake on that and gained another 10 yards. That looks like it'll be maybe 9 yards. 2nd down and 1. Takes the snap, hands off. Going to be pulled down. It's a short game, but probably picked up a yard and got the first down. There comes a flag late, and I'm going to guess that was a late hit on Aiken. But go to the Aiken ophthalmology. Did you see that replay?
Niquel Ryans was the ball carrier, number 22. In and on the tackle, number 22 for the Aiken Hornets, Alex Thomas.
So it is going to be a personal foul against Aiken High. That'll be half the distance to the goal. They were at the 27, so they'll cut that in half, get down to the 14. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. And something that's going bad just got a little worse. Sanders, shotgun, keeps it himself. He's got a wide lane, walks into the end zone for the final 14 yards. Touchdown South Aiken. They lead 13-0 with the extra point coming up.
Very, very well done. Their offense looks incredibly improved over what we saw previously this year.
The first game we saw them against Greenwood. Of course, Aiken High is not putting up much of a fight on defense.
That could be a factor.
Extra point is up and good. South Aiken leads 14-0 with 7:25 left to go in the first quarter. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
I always ask myself, would I want me to represent me? Would I want a lawyer who is prepared, who is passionate, who is capable? And every day that we represent our clients, We're telling our clients that you can count on us to bring every skill, every ability, and all of our passion in representing your interests. That's what it means to count on Chandler. That means that you can count on us to fight for you.
Welcome back. Aiken High School at Haygood Stadium for tonight's Aiken Standard Game of the Week. And the home team taking it on the chin right now. We're not even halfway through the first quarter, and South Aiken leads 14-0.
Very impressive start by South Aiken, both offensively and defensively. And unfortunately for the home team here, just the opposite. Defensively has not put up much of a resistance so far, and offensively unable to move the football.
Our expectations coming in was this would be a good game. Most of that common opponents, Strom Thurmond, South Aiken won 12-0 over Strom Thurmond. Aiken lost 27-21. So they kept it close and respectable. We just felt like Aiken High, and there's still plenty of time for Aiken High to climb back into this.
We have a number that we didn't have before, and I just picked it up. Number 42 is James Platt, and he'll be kicking off for South Aiken.
Okay, we'll go with that.
That's
James
an update.
Platt, as opposed to Ethan Yeomans.
That's right. Although Yeomans is kicking the extra points.
You looked that up on your email, did you not?
I did. I'm getting into this technology stuff. Somebody sent me a roster on my phone here.
One of the assistant coaches.
It's amazing. Yeah, one of the assistants did that. I thank him.
Platt to kick off. At the 25-yard line. And down at the 36.
And that's Alex Thomas. Once again, he's returned 2 kickoffs in a row now. Decent field position for the Hornets. Let's see if they can get something started. They need to do something to get this crowd into it a little bit, get them back to their enthusiasm.
I believe he's actually 38. We'll call it 38. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. Corey Wallace leads the team out. And we'll try to get some positive yards here. They did not move the football in their first possession after the fumbled kickoff. Now here's a jet sweep. This will pick up some yardage, gets around the end, and carrying the ball is number 14.
Stavon Porter, okay, one of their wide receivers.
All right.
And that's a positive play. And the coaches, I'm sure, picked that up against that defensive look. They do have that opportunity to run that play. Picked up a nice yard.
Picked up 6 yards, 2nd down and 4.
And Stavon Porter, you just saw there, he's rushed for 253 yards so far this season.
That pass well defended by South Aiken.
Yes, it was.
Intended for Bynum. Bynum couldn't hold on. So 3rd down and 4. Big play for Aiken High. They need to have some success and get their first down.
Good news, Corey Wallace had time to throw the football that time. Delivered a pretty nice pass, but it was well covered.
A handoff to Green. Green gets through the middle across midfield to the 45, drags them to the 44. That'll move the chains. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10, and Aiken High is in thoroughbred territory.
Very nice. Nice play. Couple good running plays for the Hornets to start there. That was Jeremiah Green, number 2 on the carry. One of the things all coaches try to do is get their skilled players that have some talent, get them the football. This series so far, Aiken's been able to do that.
I remember seeing Jeremiah Green back in the earlier days, probably his freshman year, and showing some speed. And here goes Wallace running the ball down to the 35-yard line, run out of bounds. That'll be close to another first down.
And that's a nice decision by Wallace, and also a little play action that time. I think he was looking to throw the football, certainly, but he took advantage of the open area to the right side and picks up a nice gain.
So the ball spotted at the 44. I think they're going to say he gained 9, be second down and short. Nope, they're going to say he did get the first down, and the chains will move. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10, ball at the 34-yard line. Goes outside very quickly. Passes completed, number 3, Jarvis Jones. And now Aiken moving the football. Picks up 4 yards. Brings up second down and 6.
And that is the way they do move the football so far this season, with some success against some pretty good football teams.
They actually spotted it at 21, or 31 rather. Second down and 7. Pickup of 3 on that play. Throws a pass out of bounds, intended again for Bynum. Bynum with 10 catches on the season, 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's been targeted several times here in the first half. I don't believe he's yet come up with a completion.
That was a nice job by Wallace to get that snap. It was a little bit low. Had to come up and throw quickly. Probably disrupted the timing just a little bit on that play.
Green checks back in at running back. Pass, a little screen pass. Caught. Makes a move. Comes back across the 30 down to the 26-yard line.
Really nice effort by Jeremiah Green after the catch. Okay.
Changed fields, changed direction, and made a good run.
He sure did. The screen was set up, and really he was a little bit too close to his blockers, and there was a lot of congestion there, but he was able to bounce that out to the right. Very nice effort.
Picks up 5.5. We'll call it 4th down and 1.5 yards. Or so a big play, 4th down. Aiken High will go for it. 2 split wide to the left, 2 to the right. Drops back to pass, looking over the middle. Has a man out there. It was Bynum. Missed his receiver. Incomplete.
That's a shame.
South Aiken will take over on downs. Had a receiver out there.
Yes, he did. A little spark there. Okay. A little spark. Maybe they can build on that. They moved the ball pretty effectively. Now let's see if they can pick it up on defense a little bit.
$14 to nothing. 4:37 left to go in the first quarter. South Aiken has moved it at will the 2 times they've had the football. Let's see if Aiken can get their defense going a little bit. Not that way. That one's going to go for about 14 yards. Once again, Butler getting the lion's share of the carry so far.
You know, we said that line looked pretty stout for South Aiken. Let me give you just a couple examples. Number 75, Dawson Johnson, who's the center, senior, 6'2", 300 pounds. That'll move some people. All right, and Joey Simmons, all right, 5'11", 245.
Another first down. And this is Butler dragging people with him over the 46 to the 47. And that's going to be good enough for another first down. They'll move the chains again. 2 plays, 2 first downs.
Love that play. Okay, I love it when I see those running backs take their foot and step down and then turn it right up the field. Go north, young man. And he did that.
So 2 runs by Butler, about 25 yards worth. And Hornets approach midfield again. Going to hand off, and Aiken High finally stops the run. No gain, 2nd down and 10.
And there's a nice tackle in there on the defense. Talik Jones, okay. He's 6'1", 200. Plays on the defensive line and middle linebacker.
Two splits either side. Running back in the backfield, man comes in motion. McKeever fakes to him, keeps. And Jesse Sanders picks up good yardage. It'll bring up 3rd down and short as he gets the ball into Green Hornet territory. Picked up 5 on the play. 3rd down and 5 coming up. Big play for the Aiken defense. They have yet to stop South Aiken. And now they have not stopped them as they jump off sides. I believe that 5 yards will give them the 1st down.
I've mentioned 2 big linemen. Take a look at number 68, okay? That is Caleb Eichelberger, and he's only 6'7" and weighs 290 pounds. He could play for a lot of college teams and the pro teams.
I'll tell you
at
what,
that size.
Well, that's what
that's
everybody is in the big schools now. Went up to the Georgia-South Carolina game. The Georgia offensive linemen were mammoth. And South Carolinas are not small by any stretch. Well, that did move the chains. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. And pressure
Good
gets
pressure.
away. Going to get yardage. Across the 30, out of bounds at the 27-yard line. And that's a pickup of about 15 yards. Another move of the chains. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10.
And the defensive coordinator for Aiken's got to be going crazy. There were 3 or 4 guys in there. Should have had a sack or a loss on the quarterback. He pops right through the middle and gains good yardage. That'll drive you nuts.
South Aiken having their way. This is their 3rd possession of the 1st quarter. 2 touchdowns, and now they threaten again. And Butler comes up the middle. Gets good positive yardage. And Butler again on the season has 146 yards coming into this game. He's got at least 50 here in the 1st quarter.
Take a look at that alignment and watch number 54 in the backfield.
I believe there's some movement on that. False start.
And I'm not sure about the pronunciation of his last name, but that's Ned Koff, I believe, with a K. All right, then they've got him in the backfield as a blocking back, and he's causing some problems. He's leading up on those linebackers and also sealing the outside on a couple plays.
So that brings the ball back 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. That negates Butler's rush from the previous play. But South Aiken having no problems getting big yardage. Pretty much seemingly on every play. Man in motion. Here comes the pass rush. Sanders going to be sacked.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't get away this time. That's going to be a big loss. That's about a 13-yard loss back to the 39-yard line.
Okay, among the tacklers there that time was Nick White, number 6. Okay, I believe number 18 was in there, C.J. Hazel. Okay, and they had help. That's the kind of pressure they need to have.
So
Much better.
3rd down, 22, I believe. Now the scoreboard is in sort of that light green color, and probably need to have glasses for that. Shotgun. Takes the snap, drops back. Looking to run.
Once again, lots of pressure.
He's hard to bring down. He's going to pick up about 5 yards to the 34-yard line. He'll bring up 4th down and about 15.
I like what Aiken did there the last couple plays. They've dialed up some really great pressure. A couple guys coming on blitzes and disrupted what South Aiken wanted to do. They were much more aggressive on those last 2 plays than what we've seen. Very well done.
South Aiken, I believe, is taking a timeout.
Look
Got
at
a timeout on the field. We'll take one with them. We'll be right back.
Aiken Ophthalmology provides high quality, comfortable, and dependable treatment in Aiken and North Augusta. With our newly expanded facility, we now have 4 experienced physicians that are up to date on the latest procedures, and our surgery center offers the finest eye care technology available to better serve you. Make your appointment today with Aiken Ophthalmology.
So Aiken High's defense comes to life, gets a sack and a couple of big stops. And then South Aiken calls a timeout to talk about a 4th down and 17-yard play coming up here. Midland Valley off to a good start.
That's an unusual score, isn't it? 2-0, Midland Valley. Good for them.
Colin Damaris looking like a genius. All right. South Aiken hasn't had very many 3rd down plays, certainly no 4th down plays, but they'll go for it here on 4th down. Oh, it's a punt.
That's what I call it.
Timeout to get that straight. And Jesse Sanders punts it out of bounds. Let's see where they're going to mark it. And he's marked around the, looks like 13, 14-yard line. So it's successful. It drops Aiken High deep.
And I think that's something that other coaches will have to prepare for now. I think that was done partially for future reference.
So there's only, well, the scoreboard went out. They're running a commercial on the scoreboard. It's an impressive scoreboard. It goes from a long way from the days of the Coca-Cola scoreboards.
I'm surprised the quarter didn't run out, but I guess it didn't.
Well, they're running the play clock, and they've got a commercial running on the scoreboard, so they're waiting for the scoreboard to come back up. Now they got it back up. 20 seconds left to go in the half. Or in the quarter, excuse me. Seems like a half, doesn't it? Dude, that's Green on the carry. No, that's number
Wallace.
8.
Yeah, that's Wallace.
Wallace kept it.
And lost a lot. And a little frustration there by Wallace. Hey, fellas, help me out here a little bit.
Aiken was bringing it all.
Yes,
the
they
clock
were.
runs out. That's the end of the first quarter. 1 quarter of play. South Aiken having it their way. They lead 14-0 at the break. It's the Aiken Standard Game of the Week. We'll be back.
I had back issues for a while. I kept going back with different complaints. My doctor, he said, surgery's not going to do you any good. So I would recommend to you therapy. After therapy, I'm a lot better. I'm so grateful for that. I'm a lot better. Thanks to Aiken Regional Hospital for the joy that was put back into my life. Now I'm able to get on the floor and play with the children. And it's just a relief.
1 quarter's in the book from tonight's Aiken Standard Game of the Week, and we are at Haygood Stadium, where the home team Aiken Green Hornets find themselves on the short end of a 14-0 score against their crosstown rivals South Aiken. And that quarter will just go down in the books as a thoroughbred quarter.
That's exactly right. They dominated the quarter. Aiken had one little drive that was not bad at all, and then come up with 4th down and were unable to complete the pass to keep the drive going, but it showed a little spark, and their defense showed a little spark in the last defensive set also. Much more aggressive than we saw earlier in the ball game.
So it'll be 2nd down. Ball's on the 7-yard line. I can read all that. I'm still trying to figure out this scoreboard. And from up here, it's almost impossible to read except for the time clock. So it looks like about 2nd down and 14.
That's another good
And,
catch by Wallace. Okay.
Had to quickly hand it off.
That was almost a disaster.
There'll be no gain on that play, so it'll bring up 3rd down and a long ways to go as they're backed up in the Tyler Tire end zone shadow.
Tyshawn Butler's going to have to take a little break. Helmet came off. He'll head to the sidelines, get strapped back up, and then he'll be back in, I'm sure.
Thought that was a flag. Somebody just threw a towel.
South Aiken's been pretty tough defensively, and oftentimes with just a 3-man line, and here comes a linebacker. Maybe here come a couple of them.
Wallace gets outside, going to throw, has a man, made the catch. No, they say he was out of bounds, incomplete.
A few people disagree with that call.
Don't believe it would have been enough for the 1st down. It'll be 4th down.
The only one that going to count is that guy with the striped shirt on the field down there.
That's right.
This could be exciting. We've seen a lot of different things happen with the punting game in high school this year, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
As always, you never know what's going to happen. Stay tuned.
We had more last week. Keeps on coming. Gets the snap, gets the kick away. We're waiting for it and fumbles it. South Aiken picks it up though, and now going to advance it, and got a wall and got outside. And that was number 10. And we'll have to look up on your list as to who number 10 is.
Okay, and number 10. That's a good question. Let me check that out for you.
I believe there may have been a flag at the end. Ball's down inside the 30-yard line.
Number 10 is DeMar Johnson.
So DeMar Johnson is number 10.
Yes, indeed. And he actually was one of the captains tonight, I believe.
I'm sure he's on this list somewhere under a different number. All right. No flag. Ball spotted at the 28-yard line.
In great field position, obviously, for South Aiken.
So the little quick kick by South Aiken turns out to be a good thing. They get the ball back even better than when they punted it. That's another Jesse Sanders run. He takes it down to the 30-yard line.
You know, Sanders is a good-sized young man. He goes about 6'4", 200 pounds. Runs the ball, and as we've seen, he can be tough to bring down.
2nd down and 4. So they got that on his kneecap there and able to save it, get it over on the sides. Almost scrambled out and made a pass, but goes out of bounds, incomplete. Bring up 3rd down. So Aiken is showing a little resistance here in the 2nd quarter.
Another score up there now, like that. Ridge Spring Monetta up over Denmark Olar.
20-8.
And Ridge Spring's one of those teams that has moved up in the rankings. Their record is only 2-2, but in their division, they're usually very competitive.
Yeah, I believe that was McKeever again.
It was. Nice run, good blocking up front once again.
And ball, I think, is spotted just over the 10-yard line, so it'll be a Chandler Law Firm 1st and goal. 9.5 yards to get to the Tyler Tire end zone. You get a good idea of how big Sanders is next to those 2 running backs. Cuts
Nice move.
inside. And maybe they're going to spot him down at. And that's the first time we've seen Ryans tonight. Niquel Ryans, who's the leading rusher on the season with 309 yards rushing.
And we've talked about all those big kids. And Niquel Ryans is listed as a junior at 5'4" and 156 pounds. That goes to the other side of the scale.
That's why Jesse looks so much bigger than him. Ball at the 1 yard line, 2nd and goal.
There, easily.
And Ryans takes it in for the touchdown, 20-0 the score. Extra point to follow.
You know, that's unfair. He gets behind a couple of those big kids and the defensive people can't see him.
That's what they say about these little running backs. That
that's a nice
wondering
run.
Where they are.
That's a 1 yard run, right?
That is correct. And Platt, according to the coach, is the kicker. Kicks it away. And it's good. 21-0 our score. South Aiken over Aiken High on the Aiken Standard Game of the Week. We'll be right back.
It all started at one family night in Dumfries, Virginia. Family night is for everybody. It's a time for families to do crafts together.
The kids just love going to Chick-fil-A for dinner. Being the single mom and getting everybody ready, it was tough. We would get there a little bit late, like on the tail end of it. Helen saw that I was having trouble getting them to Chick-fil-A for the family night on time and actually got it extended another hour. Noticing things like that, I never really told her how much she affected me, but she did.
Love you.
Move.
Yeoman's mother's going to be upset with you.
Haygood Field, Haygood Stadium, as South Aiken scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and now 1 in the second quarter. And we've got 9 minutes and 28 seconds until the half. And Aiken desperately needing to get something started on offense. They showed a little life on one of their drives in the first quarter. They need to make that pay off. Again, South Aiken going for win number 3 in a row, 3 years in a row. They've only done that one time before in this rivalry. And that kick goes in between the runners, picked up and brought back to about the 27-yard line. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10 for Aiken High School.
Aiken a little fortunate there. As a coach, I don't like any of those up people trying to catch one over their head. You let those guys behind you get that. Brooklyn Casey and North Augusta tied up 7-7. We thought that'd be a good ball game.
Mm-hmm. We saw some scores last week where teams were looked to be way ahead, and then other teams came roaring back. That the game comes to match Fox Creek. Well, pass complete. Picked up that ball off the ground, gets it back to around midfield.
And that's a nice effort. That's Stavon Porter, all right. One of their leading receivers. Does it again, and he was wide open.
And good job by Wallace. The ball was on the ground. He had to scramble, pick it up, and get rid of it.
He's done that a couple times tonight.
So that picked up 21, 22 yards, 49-yard line. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. And Jeremiah Green crosses the 50-yard line into thoroughbred territory.
That's a pretty good recovery by South Aiken. Looked like he was going to have a much bigger run than that, but they closed nicely and surrounded him.
Pickup of 3 yards, 2nd down and 7. Able to pick that up, make some people miss. Going to lose a yard. Again, the snaps to the quarterback, having a hard time with that. Be 3rd down and 8. Throwing downfield, middle of the field, got a man, good catch. Nice tackle, but Bynum finally gets one, hauls it in.
Yes, he did.
Inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. 1st down.
Very nice throw by Wallace, okay? And that's what we've heard about. We haven't seen him so far this year, but that's well done. South Aiken had a little stunt on. They had somebody coming up the chute, but he was able to remain poised and delivered a strike.
So Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10, ball directly at the 20-yard line. Keeps, goes outside, going to get inside the 20 to the 15, turns in at the 10, and over the 5 down to the 4. And Corey Wallace makes a big play. Somebody called a touchdown on the PA. Not quite yet.
I love that. Okay. Number 3 was obviously in a conversation, one of the South Aiken players, and Corey said, hey, let's calm down now. We're actually moving the football. We've got a chance to score. Don't get us a 15-yard penalty here.
They're going to say stepped out of bounds at the 6. So it's Chandler Law Firm, 1st and goal from the 6 for Aiken High. Checks. Now he's going to call timeout. Aiken High wants to talk about it. This is their chance to maybe get back in the game. We'll take a timeout with them. We'll be right back.
Young, healthy patients without glasses, maybe once every 5 years. So, but if you have glasses, you kind of want yearly visits to make sure you're in the right spectacles. You know, folks over the age of 50 or 55, we generally start wanting yearly visits at that point, because over the age of 50, you have a higher incidence of things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, those kinds of things.
Make an appointment today with one of our 4 doctors at Aiken Ophthalmology.
But there's a good shot as Aiken High talks it over. They are 1st and goal at the 6. And if there's ever a time in a game where somebody needs one, it's right now for Aiken High.
You're exactly right. And they've run a couple of real nice plays here. Nice throw and catch to Bynum. And then the quarterback took it in for a nice run around the corner on a zone read, looked like. So impressive.
This is more of what Aiken High was hoping to do early in the game before they fumbled the opening kickoff, and South Aiken took 3 plays to get it in the end zone. And I believe Aiken was just shell-shocked in the 1st quarter. They're ready to go. And now flag. And if this is a false start, that'll put them 5 yards further back.
Ziggy Harrison liked it, number 8 for South Aiken. I remember him from a couple years ago when he was probably the same height, but much more slender. Now he's got a lot of different muscle on him. Looks really strong.
Harrison came in with 36 tackles.
I think 12 of them were behind the line of scrimmage.
12 were for loss, 6 sacks. And he's a wrecker. And here he comes from the backside. He gets it away in the end zone. Had a man. Not a bad looking play. Well covered by South Aiken.
Pretty good effort.
He had to know that Harrison was coming quickly. So with the 5-yard backup, it's 2nd and goal from the 11. back to pass. Has time. Now acts like he's going to run, but throws, got a man in
Got
his
him.
own. Touchdown. Fighting Green Hornets are on the board. Number 14,
Stavon Porter.
Porter, makes the catch.
You know, one of the things that people often don't understand, the quarterback's got to have great vision to find those people when a lot of stuff is happening right in front of him. Did a nice job with that. Good throw by Corey Wallace.
The run got the defense up. So Austin McKay on to try the extra point. Aiken now trails 21-6. Spot is down, kicks up. It's good. So Aiken High shows a little life here in the second quarter with, well, we can't tell. The scoreboard's running a commercial. But with some time left to go in the second quarter, Aiken High now trails 21-7 in our ball game.
And it looks like 6:51 left to go in the quarter.
This scoreboard is very fancy, but they will put a commercial up on it and take up the whole scoreboard. So the home crowd has something to cheer about. Big crowd here tonight. And I know that they were expecting a lot better than what they got in the first quarter. And so Aiken shows some life. And now Aiken's got to find a way to stop South Aiken.
That's right. But the confidence is a big deal, okay, on any level. And they just got some. Okay, nice couple of catches. Good job by their quarterback. They're back playing again.
Well, they need to stop here and get the ball back, see if they can make something happen before the half. South Aiken has been knocking off big chunks of yard. They only were stopped once on fourth down. They did a quick kick from around the 35-yard line. I think it was the 36. Kicks this away, feels it on a hop at the 10. Got a gap there. And knocked down as he crosses the 30 to the 33-yard line. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. South Aiken back in business.
And that's Ryan Mays, number 3 on the return. Well done.
Haven't seen him tonight. We saw him in that first game against Greenwood make some outstanding catches.
Yeah, he certainly did. Okay. He took one of the biggest hits we've seen this year and just popped right back up, ready to go.
And you missed one good one last week, interception by Strom Thurman. Kid was going to run it back for touchdown. Quarterback Miller for North Augusta ran over, grabbed him, and body slammed him. He was not happy about that, but pretty impressive.
There you go.
Oh, there, and the defense for Aiken stops Jesse Sanders in the backfield. And they're showing some life now. Second down, loss of about 5 yards. Second down and 15.
Yeah, they really are. Okay. Kaiti Fuel, defensive tackle. Senior, 5'11", 275. One of the ones in on that tackle.
Four-man front. Here's Butler again.
Whoa.
He's hit in the backfield, driven back. He may have lost a yard on that play.
Talik Jones, number 10, was in on the tackle. And I believe it was number 70 giving him some help. And that would be B.J. Redding. Good penetration. They've picked up their defense a little bit.
They're going to say no gain, third down and 15. Another big third down play here. Aiken High looking to get a big stop. Since man in motion. That was not going to get the first down anyway.
No.
It's caught at about the 33-yard line. That doesn't even make the original line of scrimmage. It's going third down, fourth down and 12. And with 5:13, Aiken High is going to get it back on a punt and have a chance to do a little more damage.
William McDuffie, number 7. Good coverage and a nice tackle.
So they have a sideline warning for Aiken High. I guess they're a little bit too much celebrating. Got to keep focused here. Platt comes out to punt. Good punt. Fielded at about the 35. Cuts around the other side. This Porter. Porter's got a lane. He's coming through. Gets slowed down. Still on his feet. All the way back inside the 35 into thoroughbred territory. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10 coming at about the 33-yard line.
And I'll tell you what, they had a nice wall set up, okay, and he got to it. You know, when you get to those things, he had a couple nice blocks to spring him to start, and then there was a wall on the other side, and he really accelerated. That kid's got some speed. Terrific run back. Turned it into a ball game, Coach.
And Porter has 283 yards on the season and 5 touchdowns. So they've got some wide receivers. They've got some good numbers. So Wallace leads him out. Short field. Touchdown would really change the momentum of this ball game. Now going to throw it to the sidelines. Caught over on the far side. That was complete to number 3, Jarvis Jones.
I like the way they spread the ball around. They don't have just one receiver. And if you look at the stats that are in the paper, you'll see the 3 names there, and all of them have about the same number.
And all of them with multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, Jeremiah Green and Jarvis Jones, Stavon Porter.
Bynum.
Then Bynum, they all get their touches. That was another play where it was kind of a broken play, but Corey Wallace did a nice job, excuse me.
Got the completion, picked up 7.5, 2.5 yards, 2nd down for the Hornets. Hand off to Green. Green's got some room to run. Breaks away inside the 15 to the 14.
And you know, they throw the ball so much and people are expecting them to throw. There are some running lanes up there. Okay, oftentimes South Aiken's playing with a 3-man front. You should be able to find some place to run the football against that.
Like I said, I remember Green being extremely quick from the past. And again, he's getting some yardage here tonight. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. Ball's at the 14-yard line.
Now they're going to bring some pressure.
Once again, he gives it to Green. Green breaks the line, dragging a pile with him.
I'll tell you what, Green's tough. He's got that knack where he can go he can go lateral in just a heartbeat.
And I think you're right. South Aiken surprised with the rushing game. Picked up 8.5. 2nd down, 1.5.
I mean, he's got some moves as a runner, and he's got some speed.
Now we got a timeout on the field. I believe South Aiken's going to take a timeout. And with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left, a game that looked like this was going to be a rout, 21-0. Aiken High scores a touchdown, brings new life, plays tough defense, and here they are knocking on the door to bring it into a 1-score game.
Yeah, the momentum has changed just a little bit, and we got some players coming off the field getting in the huddle here with their hands up, encouraging the fans to get back into the ball game here. Enthusiasm is contagious. This could be a big ball game already.
And looking down, I see that Bill Bentley is already maybe left. I see he went to the concession stand. I don't know. Some fans may have given up. But I think we get a touchdown here, we've got a good ball game.
We've seen them on the sideline a couple times. What I like is they're all calm. Okay, they're not panicked. They're not frantic. They're explaining some things, taking care of some things. I like that atmosphere over there.
We got plenty of time. We got a whole nother half.
Oh, yeah.
We got 3.5 minutes here. North Augusta moving ahead of BC, 14-7. Gets it inside to the 5, I believe. That'll be enough to move the chains and bring up 1st and goal. They're going to say he's just short. 3rd down and inches. I would certainly run the football here. You got 2 plays to pick up a yard, less than a yard. That's right. They need to make the 4 to get the 1st down. And outside, he may get the end zone. He does. Steps in. Corey Wallace.
Yes, indeed.
Makes it 21-13. Extra point coming. Wallace
Here
is
come the fans.
pumped up.
Yes, they are. They should be pumped up.
They did that relatively quickly, and there's going to be time for South Aiken to get something done before the half.
I got news for you. You have a team that has lost, what, 18 games in a row or something like that?
Yeah.
And they get down 14-0 in the first quarter. Okay. A lot of teams that in that situation, they pack it up and they're ready to get out of here. Not Aiken. I'm impressed.
Extra point coming. Austin Mackey on to try the extra point. Kick is up.
That's a nice kick.
It's good. And so Aiken, trailing 21-0, has 2 unanswered touchdowns, and they now trail 21-14. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
I knew he was in trouble. I didn't really know that it was a heart attack, but I knew he was in trouble. His right coronary artery was 99% blocked and already collapsed.
So within 10 minutes, they had put a stent in.
I'm so glad that we made that decision to go to Aiken Regional right away.
We definitely made the right decision in going to Aiken Regional.
I don't think we could have gotten better care.
Good. Aiken High back in this ball game, 21-14. They fumbled the opening kickoff, which South Aiken recovered on the 36-yard line. 3 plays later, South Aiken was in the end zone with only 58 seconds off the clock and led 7-0. 3 plays, no gain, 4th down punt for Aiken. South Aiken came about 75 yards for another touchdown, easy as you please. Ahead 14-0. They scored another one in the second, 21-0. Aiken scores 2 unanswered touchdowns, and we got a ball game, Coach.
Yes, we do.
There's a solid kick back inside the 5. That had makings of the game. We've had a couple of games. Somebody returned a kickoff. I think it was last week. Returned a kickoff for a touchdown after Strom Thurmond kicked a field goal. That's exactly what it was. It was North Augusta. And cut the lead to 14-3 in ensuing kickoff. North Augusta returned it for a touchdown. So Aiken does a good job, stops them at the 32-yard line. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. We'll call it 33. McKeever in motion. Hands to McKeever. McKeever makes the edge, but turns in, only gets a couple of yards. Bring up 2nd down and 8.
That was a pretty nice return by A.J. Stanley on the kickoff, number 23. A.J. Staley, I think it is. Not much on that first play, though, was there?
Not much. 2 yards. 2nd down. South Aiken, who was ripping off 10 yards apiece and more, slowed down a bit. Now there's a good run. Knock him down short of the 1st down. It's going to be up 3rd down, but it's going to be 3rd down and 3. Butler ran hard on that play.
Yeah, I don't like the look of that. No, yeah, that's better. Now I like it. I think he got stunned a little bit on that tackle.
Yeah, he takes his helmet off and heads to the sidelines. So 3rd down 3. This is where I would look for Sanders to keep and come straight up the middle. Well, he hands it off right up the middle, and he's going to be stopped.
Yes,
he's going to be a couple yards short of the first down. It's going to be 4th down for South Aiken. Clock running to 1:18. That's got to be 4th down. 4th down and 2 because he gained a yard. Ball's at the 41-yard line. You got to believe that South Aiken. Here comes another squib kick or try to draw them off sides. Be amazed if South Aiken went for it. They're just trying to get him to jump off sides.
Letting the clock run down to 43 seconds.
Good job by Aiken High not to jump off sides.
You're
That's
right.
what South Aiken was trying to do. So they maintain their poise. And South Aiken heads to the sidelines with a timeout. And now a punt will get it back to Aiken as the clock ticked down to 41 seconds. So 41 seconds, I would imagine that everything goes well here on this punt. Aiken will be satisfied and head to the locker room.
And South Aiken will get to regroup a little bit. They're going to get the ball to start the second half. Okay, but Aiken has turned this game around a little bit, and the momentum is on their side right now. And a defense that was getting shredded early has really played pretty well here the last couple of series.
Now, Porter had a great return on the last punt, so that could change the complexion with another return. And they've sent Jeremiah Green back to receive as well. Porter on the near side. So 2 guys back. Kicks away, and it's going to go out of bounds.
That's a smart move. Okay.
So let's see if Aiken plays it safe and just takes this 7-point deficit to the halftime. And they certainly have the momentum at this point. Aiken huddles at the sidelines to talk it over. Sure, they wouldn't risk. We saw that earlier in North Augusta, at North Augusta with Grovetown. And Grovetown got back in the game and threw an interception right before the half for a pick 6. And they rolled on from there. But they come out in the spread formation. Wallace going to roll to his left. Hey, he has a man right there. Porter makes the catch. Doesn't go down at the 40-yard line.
That's a nice play.
That'll move the chains, so they'll stop the clock with 26 seconds left. See if Aiken does. Aiken calls a timeout. They're not going to just go quietly into the night.
If they can get 2 more completions, they might at least get a field goal. Their kicker looks like he's got a pretty strong leg. He's been accurate. He's been kicking the ball well on the extra points. It'd be something if they come down here and put some extra points on the board.
Well, that would certainly give South Aiken something to think about. And I think they've got a lot to think about right now.
They do.
I think some of the things that can happen, especially in football, you get behind or get ahead early and think, oh, this is going to be easy. And all of a sudden, the other team starts playing like Aiken's done tonight. And sometimes you relax a little bit. It's hard to get it started again.
Well, and if we look at the scoreboard, Aiken lost the first quarter 14-0, but they've won the second quarter 14-7. So they got to be feeling pretty good about things.
And I'm sure the coaches will point that out at halftime. Should they fall short on this drive?
There's been a couple games that Aiken has been in, and it's been very similar to this. They fall behind, but then they rally back and put some points on the board. They haven't been able to complete it yet, but maybe tonight's the night.
They took the lead at White Knoll before losing that late. Now Wallace scrambles around, throws downfield. Ooh, did that get intercepted?
Yes, it did.
So that's intercepted.
Nope, he's calling it incomplete.
Okay, he said it hit the ground. 20 seconds left. Pass is incomplete. I believe I can hear the South Aiken people booing now. I think they've awakened. It is packed over on the visitor's side. It's packed on the home side. This is what high school football should be, right?
It's Friday Night Lights this week. both teams well represented.
All right, I would be careful here if I were Aiken. That pass been up a little bit, and he intercepts it and returns it. Got two split to the right, two to the left. They didn't get that false start. Now rolling, he could run. He's going to run, and run out of bounds. He's going to gain about 4 yards.
He looks like he was looking at the sideline over there saying, you know, once I'm out of here, you leave me alone.
12 seconds left to go. Aiken High facing a third down here. I don't know what this timeout situation is. Again, I can't read the scoreboard.
12 seconds left.
I read that part. I can read the score.
You said you couldn't see it before.
I can see that part. I can't read timeouts and things like that. It's sort of small in this sort of fogged window. And they do hand it off to rush it now. South Aiken could call timeout. Let's see if they have one. And they do. They stop the clock. On fourth down, they're going to make Aiken punt with 6 seconds left to go.
And if that's the case, if they do line up to punt, I think South Aiken will bring the house.
If I was Aiken, I would do the same thing South Aiken did. I'd put, they start the clock. I don't know. I guess they stopped it for no particular reason. So the clock's going to run out. Not sure why it was stopped in the first place. But that's the end of the first half, and Aiken gets back in it with 2 late scores here in the second quarter. And our score at halftime, South Aiken 21, Aiken 14.
Yeah, and it's turned out to be a good ball game now. And can you imagine if Aiken comes back and wins this ball game? Okay, the stands are going to go crazy.
They might even leave the lights on for us to tear down the equipment. That'd be nice.
Well, they'll have to leave the lights on for a while because there'll be a celebration out there if they can come back and win this ball game.
I'm sure the home folk will be much happier. They let South Aiken head into the locker rooms, and now Aiken will head that way as well. And they'll both get together. South Aiken will try to get everything together and get back into the swing of things while Aiken has the momentum at half. They'll be ready to go in the third quarter. And as you pointed out, South Aiken will receive the opening kickoff. So I'm sure they'll have a plan. All right, our score 21-14 at the half. We'll take a break and come back, and we'll hear from the Aiken High School Marching Band when we return on the Aiken Standard Game of the Week.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With a revolutionary Michelin Premier tire, even when half-worn, it's still safe, thanks to EverGrip technology. The Michelin Premier tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
I always ask myself, would I want me to represent me? Would I want a lawyer who is prepared, who is passionate, who is capable? And every day that we represent our clients, we're telling our clients that you can count on us to bring every skill, every ability, and all of our passion in representing your interests. That's what it means to count on Chandler. That means that you can count on us to fight for you.
Aiken Ophthalmology provides high quality, comfortable, and dependable treatment in Aiken and North Augusta. With our newly expanded facility, we now have 4 experienced physicians that are up to date on the latest procedures, and our surgery center offers the finest eye care technology available to better serve you. Make your appointment today with Aiken Ophthalmology.
I had back issues for a while. I kept going back with different complaints. My doctor, he said, surgery's not going to do you any good. So I would recommend to you therapy. After therapy, I'm a lot better. I'm so grateful for that. I'm a lot better. Thanks to Aiken Regional Hospital for the joy that was put back into my life. Now I'm able to get on the floor and play with the children, and it's just a relief.
It all started that one family night in Dumfries, Virginia. Family night is for everybody. It's a time for families to do crafts together.
The kids just love going to Chick-fil-A for dinner. Being the single mom and getting everybody ready, it was tough. We would get there a little bit late, like on the tail end of it. Helen saw that I was having trouble getting them to Chick-fil-A for the family night on time and actually got it extended another hour. Noticing things like that, I never really told her how much she affected me, but she did.
Love you.
Move.
Young, healthy patients without glasses, maybe once every 5 years. So, but if you have glasses, kind of want yearly visits to make sure you're in the right spectacles. You know, folks over the age of 50 or 55, we generally start wanting yearly visits at that point, because over the age of 50, you have a higher incidence of things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, those kinds of things.
Make an appointment today with one of our 4 doctors at Aiken Ophthalmology.
I knew he was in trouble. I didn't really know that it was a heart attack, but I knew he was in trouble. His right coronary artery was 99% blocked and already collapsed.
So within 10 minutes, they had put a stent in.
I'm so glad that we made that decision to go to Aiken Regional right away.
We definitely made the right decision in going to Aiken Regional.
I don't think we could have gotten better care.
Welcome back. Halftime at Haygood Stadium on the campus of Aiken High School, where tonight South Aiken leads Aiken at the half 21-14 with a good comeback by Aiken in the second quarter to score 2 touchdowns. So let's go down to the field. It's homecoming, which we did not know that. It was supposed to be the night of the hurricane canceled game. So let's go down and enjoy seeing the homecoming court at Aiken High School.
Jaden Duncan, escorted by her father, Dwayne Clark. Jabrasia Corley, escorted by her brother, JJ Corley. Our 2018 sophomore princess candidates are Perrin Odom, escorted by her uncle, Morris Landy. Blair Vaughn, escorted by her father, Chris Vaughn. Jada Walker, escorted by her father, Teddy Walker. Our 2018 junior freshman princess candidates are Sanavia Johnson, escorted by her father, Horace Johnson. Latoria Robinson, escorted by her brother, Hakeem Doyle. Natalie Simmons, escorted by her father, Maurice Simmons. And our 2018 Aiken High School homecoming queen candidates are Trayana Brown, escorted by her cousin, Seneca Stapleton. Lexi Floyd, escorted by her father, Steve Floyd. Michaela Harris, escorted by her mother, Adrian Harris. Ayana Holland, escorted by her uncle, Jonathan Simpkins. Nyasia Mackey, escorted by her mother, Cece Rayford. Heather Moore, escorted by her father, Jimmy Moore. Melody Odom, escorted by her father, Michael Odom. Kayla Parker, escorted by her father, James Parker. Siobhan Porter, escorted by her mother, Deborah Parks. Nigeli Silva, escorted by her father, Francisco Silva. Taylor Staley, escorted by her father, Maurice Jordan. Sabrina Stein, escorted by her stepfather, Ricky Jordan. Zakiya Stewart, escorted by her nephew, Marquez Johnson. Jean A. Williams, escorted by her father, Marlo Williams. Carly Beth Wilson, escorted by her father, Mike Wilson. Ansley Wood, escorted by her mother, Sarah Wood. Montana Youngblood, escorted by her father, Bubba Youngblood. The freshman, sophomore, and junior homecoming princesses candidates were nominated by their classmates, and then the candidates were then voted upon by their grade level to determine this year's winners. The entire student body voted to determine this year's Aiken High School homecoming queen. For freshman homecoming princess, the freshman class has selected Najee Curry. For sophomore homecoming princess, the sophomore class has selected Perrin Odom. For junior homecoming princess, the junior class has selected Synavia Johnson. For senior homecoming court, the student body has selected the third runner-up, Siobhan Porter. The second runner-up, Melody Odom. The first runner-up, Nigeli Silva. And our 2018 homecoming queen is Lexi Ford. Let's give all these young ladies another big round of applause. Congratulations to our entire court, and thank you to all the fans here tonight. The Student Council hopes everyone is enjoying Homecoming 2018. Thank you for your support, and enjoy the rest of the football game.
Tonight at Aiken High is Lexi Ford. And congratulations to Lexi. I'd love to tell you who all the other names were and rehash all of that, but my gosh, they had a lot of people who were recognized, so hopefully you were able to pick that all up. Walked out at halftime, and the PA here is not the PA that was here when I was in high school. My gosh, that thing's loud.
A little louder, isn't it?
It's louder than what it was when we first started doing football games just a few years ago.
Well, you know, they've done a nice job with this field, too. I mean, it's been a major improvement.
Yeah, I walked out on the field. The field itself is in great shape.
Yep.
It wasn't in great shape a few years back, but they've done a good job of getting it in shape, and we've seen some really good fields. Oh, at Strom Thurmond last week, you missed that, our annual trip to Strom Thurmond. What a beautiful place they have there. So
I think that's a great venue now for a football game. They did a terrific job when they renovated that a few years ago.
And they have air conditioning in the booth.
Yeah, they're nice.
It was great. All right, halftime. Homecoming again, Lexi Ford, the homecoming queen for Aiken High. And now the teams are returning. South Aiken is returned. I'm sure Aiken have to work its way through the ROTC, and they're marching off the field at this point in time. But they'll be back soon, get loosened up, and we'll be ready for the second half. And as far as expectations for the second half, what do you look for?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Aiken gained the momentum in the second quarter, obviously. I think they've got a little confidence. Whatever their defensive coach decided to do, he's brought more pressure, and they're doing a better job defensively. And they've had trouble all year stopping the run. They had trouble in the first quarter of this ball game stopping the run. It was almost non-existent. Second quarter, they did a much better job. I anticipate they'll continue to try to bring pressure, and they can cause some problems. And offensively, they've got some playmakers, and Wallace has done a nice job tonight again. He came into the game as the quarterback with the most touchdown throws in the area with 12, and he's hanging right in there. I like that, and I think this is going to be a ball game.
Yeah, the biggest surprise, I guess, from our perspective, was coming in and looking at the overall leaders rushing in the area, and nobody from Aiken is mentioned. And actually, Jeremiah Green and Wallace both have done a very good job running the football.
Yeah, they've got some ability. They've got some speed. All right, they're good sized kids. They're stocky. They're strong. They're capable. I think the line was dominated early by South Aiken, both offensively and defensively, but that's changed a little bit.
Well, my expectation for South Aiken is that they took the break, and it was a long halftime because of the homecoming situation. So they've had some time to sit, talk about it, be yelled at by the coaching staff. And my expectation is South Aiken will come back and try to roar right back down the field and extend this to a two-score game very quickly. And I think that'll be the difference. Can Aiken come out of the locker room, maintain the momentum, stop South Aiken, and get the ball back? They still trail, and I think that's not going to be the easiest thing to do.
No. Okay, we came into the game expecting that all things being equal, South Aiken would probably have a little bit of an advantage in the ball game. But Wallace has negated some of the pressure that South Aiken was able to bring to him, and completed some nice passes. He's got the receivers that once they catch it, they're very, very dangerous. So it looks like a pretty good ball game in the second half.
Well, my expectation before the game was this would be a really good game, that South Aiken maybe has the better record, 2-2, but if you do a comparison of the common opponent, like I said, Strom Thurmond, South Aiken beat them 12-0. Aiken, on the other hand, lost 27-21. It's close ball games. Both of them played in Aiken at the two teams' home fields. So from that perspective, I felt like that Aiken could hang with South Aiken, and of course at the beginning it was like, boy, were we wrong about this. But Aiken, I think, comes in, makes the mistake, loses their confidence, somewhat shell-shocked, and then finally able to get something going, get on the board, and they responded with a stop and another one. So if they can do that in the third quarter, even if they don't score and tie things up on the ensuing play, they really need to get a big stop and keep South Aiken from regaining the momentum if Aiken wants to continue. South Aiken, on the other hand, they need to get down, score, and kind of put Aiken back in their place. And Aiken then has a half, and whatever amount of time has gone off with the South Aiken drive. Aiken, you start getting a little antsy and panicky, and I think they will be prone to making mistakes if they stay behind, especially far behind.
Well, you know, looking at the stats coming into this ball game, South Aiken has played 4 ball games and only scored 62 points. Okay, that's not a lot of points for them, and they, like I say, they're used to scoring big over the last couple of years. Okay, so they come into this ball game and they're not scoring. They're scoring less than 20 points a game, and they've already got 21. So it'll be a little change for them if they can score 2 or 3 times in the second half. That's something they have not done yet this year.
I agree that they'll find it difficult. They got to be thinking about that too. That we're not used to scoring a bunch of points. So a lot of things at work here as the teams are back out on the field. As we said, South Aiken will receive this opening kickoff of the second half and try to get things rolling again, get things to take off where they did at the beginning of the game, where South Aiken was just having their way. McKay will kick off for Aiken High. He kicked deep his last time up. He kicked it inside the 5-yard line.
I think he's a decent kicker.
And I think you figured out that 23 was A.J. Staley. He's deep to receive for South Aiken.
That's
Not
right.
sure who is on the other far side of the field.
It was Ryan Mays in the first half, number 3.
All right. Here we go. This is on Staley's side. It skips and it goes out of bounds. So South Aiken will be able to take the ball at the 35-yard line, which I would imagine they'll do. They won't make them kick again. That's something we've seen several times this year, is teams taking the 5-yard penalty and making them kick again. South Aiken won't do that. They'll take the ball at the 35-yard line. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10.
And if Aiken can continue to play good defense, not only will that help them in this ball game, but that's got to be good for the future. Maybe that week off did them some good. Got a couple things straightened out defensively. They've got some press coverage on the wide receivers.
That handoff goes for big yardage.
Oh, yeah.
And South Aiken takes up where they left off in the first quarter, as they would get 10, 11, 12, 15, sometimes even 20 yards a play.
There's a score that doesn't surprise anybody. Barnwell 51, Allendale Fairfax 6. Barnwell averages over 40 points a game. They're obviously going to exceed that tonight.
They have a good football team, and unfortunately, we don't have them on the schedule this year. Maybe we can pick that up as our extra for the. Whoop. That was a little bit long. It was intended for McKeever. And that one over outshot everybody. Aiken maybe even had a chance at an interception.
Here's the game that we weren't quite sure was going to happen, but Wagner Sally 38, Williston Elko 26 so far.
Yep.
High scoring game.
So 2nd down and 10. And here's another big hole. Good tackle, but not before they gain 15 yards. Take it into Hornet territory all the way down to the 37-yard line.
Butler looked awful good on those 2 runs so far this drive. This looks like the beginning of the ball game all over again. That'll hurt him.
Bad fumble there, that bad snap, rolled it back there.
That's a momentum killer.
Again, Butler came in with only 146 yards rushing on the season. I think he's headed for a 100-yard rushing night tonight. So that loss was about 6 yards. We'll call it 3rd down and 16. Another bad snap and a little slow getting back on it.
Oh,
and didn't get on it. Aiken High is going to recover this. Aiken High is in business. They recovered the fumble in thoroughbred territory. And Jesse Sanders should have gotten back quicker and just got on it.
Well, you know, they were moving the ball at will here, and then they had 2 bad snaps, okay, and a complete turnaround. What a shift this is. And Aiken's got to be fired up. Got great field position to start their first drive of the second half.
Well, that's the stop that Aiken needed in the 3rd quarter to get things started right. Now let's see what they can do. They've got great field position, 47-yard line, Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. He has room to run, but he's going to fire it. He's got a man downfield. Porter's behind everybody. He's got a touchdown. Aiken High School is an extra point away from tying up this game with South Aiken. What a throw. 47 yards for the touchdown.
And, you know, that's a tough daggone throw going to his left, all right? And then he got squared up and made a terrific throw, and he had the man wide open. It was just a matter of, can I get it there? Okay.
Wow.
And was that Porter on the reception?
And Porter just pulling away at the end, and a perfect pass. We saw a play like that last week. Strom Thurman dropped it in the end zone all by himself, but Porter not about to drop that one. He hauls it in, and we await the extra point.
Austin McKee.
Oh, there's a flag. Kicks up, it's good. But a flag in the back, we'll see what that is. We'll give them the extra point, and it's 21 all at this point. And I believe that's going to be a penalty on South Aiken, the way South Aiken turned and ran to the sideline. And that will probably be something along the line of scrimmage hitting the center and be assessed on the kickoff as the official walks forward.
And that ball was nearly blocked, it looked like. It wasn't quite the same kind of kick that McKay had before. Austin McKay's a nice kicker.
Well, the officials still haven't given us the signal of what it is. But at any rate, how about Aiken High trailing 21-0? They scored 3 unanswered touchdowns, and we're tied here early in the 3rd quarter, 21 all. Touchdown, the extra point's good. And I'm not sure what that signal means, but that's going to be assessed on the kickoff, as I suggested. And now Aiken High and their fans are fired up. "10 minutes, 35 seconds, just like we had in the first half in the first quarter. Took a few more seconds, about 30 seconds more. Now he's walking this off the wrong way, isn't he?
No, he called it against Aiken. They called the penalty against Aiken.
Was it a personal foul?
Yes.
Okay, so 15 yards against Aiken. At any rate, 10:35, so only a minute 25 seconds off the clock here in the second half. Aiken returns the favor. South Aiken scored in 58 seconds to lead 7-0 in the first quarter. What a turnaround, huh?
It certainly is. A lot of excitement on the sideline.
So Aiken stopped South Aiken on their first drive, got a turnover, scored on the very first play, and tied it up. And that is what the doctor ordered. So the 15-yard penalty helps, but not that much, as the return is to the 34-yard line. South Aiken will have even worse field position than they did on the opening kickoff of the second half.
Dallas McKeever on the return, and William McDuffie, number 7, makes a nice tackle in the open field on the kickoff. And I think the one that is going to be challenged now is South Aiken. They've seen a lot of things go wrong in the last quarter and a half.
A handoff. Another ball fumbles on the ground, and Aiken has the turnover. South Aiken just wheels falling off right now. Ball's recovered at the 37-yard line.
Matthew McNabb makes the recovery. Okay. Big hit in the backfield. Good penetration by the defense for Aiken. Fumble comes out immediately, and McNabb is on it.
And just like I said, South Aiken wanting to get up and get a 2-score lead and get Aiken a little bit on the panicky side. If Aiken can take this in, take the lead, and then South Aiken may start pressing.
Well, they've got to be stunned already. I mean, this is something that you would not expect.
So Aiken now with a chance to get the lead. And Wallace takes its own number, calls it, and gets about 8 yards, I believe. So he's second and short.
Wallace is a nice athlete. He's dangerous, okay? Obviously, he can throw the ball. We know that. Okay, that last touchdown pass was a terrific throw. But he keeps his cool, and he just goes out there, knows, hey, I'm not going to take a big hit. Let me get out of bounds now. I've already picked up good yardage. Like him as a quarterback.
Pickup was 8, second down and 2. And they're feeling it now. Jeremiah Green goes through the line, picks up the first down. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. They'll move the chains. Ball down at the 26-yard line. And Aiken headed for the Tyler Tire end zone.
And Green has had a couple times tonight when he's come up a little gimpy. I think he's got an ankle that's been bothering him. It looks like it's heavily taped. He might be just a little nicked.
He heads to the sideline limping pretty badly. And that certainly will hurt your yard totals.
He's an exciting player.
Rolls to his left again. Last time he threw for a touchdown. He drops back, looks back to the right. Now he's going to just throw it. Well, he throws it complete. I thought he was throwing it out of bounds. And that's going to be just about 10 more yards.
And that's a guy that we've seen do some other things tonight. That is Austin McKay, the kicker and the punter. And McKay makes a good catch, and he makes a nice run, a tough run.
Now, this is going to be a tough call. The official on the far side threw a flag. I think it's going to be a sideline warning, and that's going to be their second one of the game for Aiken High.
Well, you know, I know that that's in the rules, but, geez, how I sympathize with the kids.
I think there was one kid out. I think he called it on the coaches.
Well, maybe he did.
And they weren't very far on the field. I think that's splitting hairs.
Well, and like I say, these kids have got to be excited. I mean, can you imagine how they're feeling right now?
And it's a 5-yard walk-off, 2nd down 6. I don't like that call at all.
The get-back coach better get to work, though.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, this is thrown out in the flat, and that's going to make up for the penalty and more as it's inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. And number 12, Byron Jones, that's his first reception, first yards of the game. He's been out there substituting for Green. Green comes back on the field, but he finally gets some action and makes a big gain. It's going to be a Chandler Law Firm 1st and goal from the 6.
A couple key blocks in this drive. One to spring Corey Wallace around the end. A guy came back and picked off one of the pursuing linemen for South Aiken, and then a couple good blocks there to allow that receiver to gain more yardage.
Now another flag comes down, and he's talking to the center, and he's going to say it's a false start on the center, I guess.
Illegal procedure.
So the ball was actually spotted at 8. That'll bring it out to the 13. So it'll be 1st and goal from the 13. And again, that's a
unusual call.
Unusual call. They didn't even seem to be at the line of scrimmage yet.
Let's see if we can pick up anything here.
South Aiken's made some big mistakes. These little mistakes. First one didn't seem to hurt.
Well, now that referee just adjusted the ball for him.
I suppose he adjusted. Now we got another flag. I'm going to guess Aiken had another false start.
Procedure, yep.
So another 5-yard walk-off. They're going the wrong way.
That's a shame. I mean,
it's still 1st down, 1st and goal from the 18. Handoff. This is Green. Green, good to go. Gets back to the 10.
You know, watching him run and a couple other things that they've done with the running game, I am shocked that their stats don't show more running for them earlier in the season.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
It certainly looks to me like they have the ability to mix it up and, you know, have a balanced attack with run and throw.
So 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. 2 5-yard procedure penalties backed Aiken up from the 8-yard line. So they need to go 18 yards into the end zone to pick up this score and take the lead. Oh, he's under pressure, going to throw it up for grabs.
Oh,
falls incomplete. Fortunate for Aiken, wasn't able to catch that. Was that even a receiver?
No, it wasn't, but the ball had been tipped, so he was allowed to catch it at that point. DeMorris Ginyard, okay? That would have been something for an offensive lineman. He would have loved that. They don't get to touch the ball very often.
So 3rd down and goal, and we may get to see Mackey come out and try a field goal.
Yep. And I would say he certainly has the ability to make it from where they are now.
Two split wide to the right, 1 to the left. Actually got 3 split wide to the right. But a handoff around the 10, cuts back inside, down to the goal, touchdown. Aiken High School has taken the lead. Trailing 21-0 here in the 3rd quarter. They
Jeremiah
lead
Green.
27-21, extra point to come. And Jeremiah Green just made some nice moves to
get
inside and put that score on the board. 28 unanswered points. Well, 27, 28 coming. And they're missing somebody.
Need a man, yeah.
They're missing the kicker. Now, you would have thought
that would be a valuable person to have out there for the extra point.
Now, you would think he was getting ready to maybe kick the field goal.
I tell you what happened. I bet anything he couldn't find a tee. He was looking for the tee. You just put that out there, I believe.
Well, they didn't start the clock. Clock's not running at all. So he seems to be safe. Kicks up. Kicks good.
Nice kick.
Aiken High has come off the floor in the second quarter and has extended it here in the third and lead 28-21. Time 7:34 left here in the third quarter. Plenty of time for both these teams.
Both, exactly. All right. And, you know, I'm still sitting here. I'm partially stunned at how well they've run the football. I mean, that play right there, I'm sure everybody on the South Aiken side thought that they were going to throw the football on that play. Okay, probably the coaches included. All right. Hand the ball off the green. He makes a nice cut up, another little move. Once he gets past the line of scrimmage, goes virtually untouched into the end zone. Okay.
Just pretty amazing. Yeah, talking to the South Aiken guys before the game, they were pretty confident. And they certainly showed that in the first quarter and the beginning of the second.
Absolutely.
But, man, have they lost the momentum here. And now with this crowd roaring and the Aiken High School football team just picking up all kinds of confidence.
I'm glad they showed that picture of the fans. They have not had a lot to cheer about football-wise over the last couple of years. Okay. Wow.
All right, so Mackey, who got busy here in the second quarter, continuing to the third, and now he's blasting it. That goes way in the end zone. Automatic touchback. That'll get South Aiken a starting point at the 20-yard line, and that's their worst starting position of the evening.
And, you know, McKay, remember, he made that nice catch over there where we thought he was going to throw the ball out of bounds, and he somehow, Wallace found him, makes a nice catch, moves the ball down there, and as a kicker, he's very, very good. Now we got another penalty coming.
There is a flag out there.
Talking to people.
Now they're at the 30-yard line.
Score that I don't like. Salute a 10-0 over Silver Bluff.
They called it holding, a personal foul against Aiken. Aiken, it'll be a 15-yard walk-off up to the 35. So South Aiken gets the ball back where they normally start. They pretty much started every drive after a kickoff in between the 30 and the 35. So 35-yard line, 1st and 10, Channing Law Firm first down. And this is always a quarterback.
That looked like a mess right from the beginning. Okay.
That was that quarterback draw. And if Aiken has watched film, they'll know when they clean the backfield out, Jesse Sanders is going to run.
And I'm sure they are somewhat shocked over there, but they've lost a little bit of their composure, too. They've had a lot of mistakes here the last few minutes.
All right, first down.
We've only played about 5 minutes of the quarter, but they've had a boatload of mistakes.
First down and 15. 2 turnovers here in the third quarter for South Aiken, and they're looking up at Aiken High now. And that looks like he got a little far ahead, but Sanders able to get up to the 40-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 10 yards, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 5. And if you're joining us late, that's what the first quarter looked like on every play for South Aiken. That's why we are so stunned. I'm sure people looking at the score around the area are stunned too. Oh, Aiken had him hemmed in. He's going to pick up positive yardage. It's short. He'll get 2 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and 3.
You know, and it's quite obvious out there, too, and you like to see this. They're having some fun out there right at the moment.
Oh, yeah. They spotted it at the 41, so the pickup was 1 yard, 3rd down and 4. Spread formation. One back next to Sanders. He hands off. This is Butler. Butler gets outside, can't turn in. He stretches, but I believe they're going to spot him down a yard short.
Looks like it.
Picked up 3. He needed 4. 3rd down and 1. 4th down and 1.
This will be an interesting call.
I would say they're going to punt. They're keeping the offense in there. They made some changes.
Yeah, they got a couple of big blockers here now. An unusual formation.
I would keep the quarterback and let him go.
Oh, and they pulled a guard. Oh,
and they're going to have false start.
Yep, I think that's good all it's going to be. Either that or illegal motion.
False start against South Aiken. South Aiken just came unglued here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, they had a couple of bad things happen that, you know, you wouldn't expect on fumbles and turnovers, like you say. And now their head's got to be spinning a little bit.
So the punting unit comes on.
And I'm not sure they'll kick to these young men down here at this end. I think they may put this one out of bounds or attempt to put it out of bounds.
Aiken calls timeout. We'll take a timeout with them. Aiken leads 28-21. They're getting the ball back when we return.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With the revolutionary Michelin Premier tire, even when half-worn, it's still safe, thanks to EverGrip technology. The Michelin Premier tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
Back at Haygood Stadium, the new scoreboard showing a commercial for insurance. Things have changed. Maybe one day we'll get a brand new press box too. But in the meantime, 5:39 left to go in the 3rd quarter. South Aiken lines up to punt.
Whoa,
snap
look
over
at
his
this.
head. He doesn't have any pressure. He can kick it. He does get it away. And that's going to actually turn out to be great.
Get away
Aiken
from that.
almost touched it.
Yes, they did. That
That's
kicker
down to the 20. What a great kick
did a
Platt
terrific
did there.
job. Snap over his head, and I'll give him credit on that one. That's a great job by the punter.
Aiken was setting up for a return, I suppose. They had nobody rushing the punter, and the coaches had a few words to say to the return team when they came to the sidelines. I'm sure somebody was supposed to get back there and cover the kicker.
Yeah, I was going to say, even on a return, you always have somebody making sure they punt the ball.
Right. So Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10.
But they've got the ball, and they can't complain.
Ball at the 21-yard line. Aiken High School now with a 7-point lead. Let's see how they play with a lead. Quick pass out. Caught. Going to pick up about 4 yards. Aiken playing with so much more confidence
And that was Demetrius Preston. That's the first time I believe he's caught a pass tonight. Okay. And like I say, I like the way they spread it around. And that looked like a gain of a couple, but then he picked up an extra 4.
Second down, they give him 5. Second down and 5. Oh, mix up in the backfield. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. We'll bring up 3rd down and 5.
And that time, Green could not use his lateral movement or anything. He was just smashed. Nowhere to go.
He was late getting him the ball. May have been another one of the errant snaps.
Oh, sure. That disrupts everything.
So Jones joins Wallace in the backfield. They need 5 yards. Backs up, Going to throw it quickly out. And missed tackle. And Jones going to make him pay.
Oh.
He's going to pick up the first down.
Yeah, and the referee did a very nice job there. He was not down, and he was actually rolled over, and the defender was laying on the ground, but he was not. Gave him every yard that he actually picked up. Good job by the referee.
Jones did a good job of avoiding the first man, making him miss and picking up the first down. So 36-yard line, Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10.
And Brylan Jones, only a sophomore, good size sophomore, 6'2", 190.
Yeah, he's a good looking, isn't he? Now there's movement. I think that'll be a procedure, but we'll see. The South Aiken guy came charging. Procedure on the Hornets, 5 yards. So it'll be 1st and 15. And both teams making some mistakes of the 5-yard variety. South Aiken with some 15-yard ones.
I was going to say, Aiken so far, the mistakes have not killed them. On the other hand, South Aiken is in the hole a little bit now because of mistakes that you would not expect.
Well, they have plenty of time.
Oh, yeah, this one's not anywhere near over.
Now we got a whistle. Is that another flag? On the far side. And they may call offsides against South Aiken and get the 5 yards back. Oh, it's a sideline warning. Apparently that's been made an emphasis for the officials because I can't imagine.
That. And that was called on
South Aiken.
South Aiken.
So that's not a penalty. That's their first warning.
Yeah.
The next one would be 5 yards.
I'm telling you, the get-back coaches got to do a better job.
Yeah. Oh, that's tapped in the air and falls to the ground. That was
very fortunate.
That was an interception written all over it. 2nd down and 15.
You'd better look out.
Ooh, is that intercepted? South Aiken comes across. I think he's out of bounds. It'll be incomplete. And Wallace just hauled up through that one.
He's done that a couple times late successfully. That time he's being chased pretty hard. And might want to think about throwing that one.
3rd down and 15. South Aiken would do well. They need to be careful here, and they don't need a turnover. But South Aiken's sort of like the sleeping dog. Who knows when the one that started the game will wake up. Clock running down. He's got 5 seconds. 3, 2, he gets it off. Little screen pass. Green
good
tries
defense.
to make him
Good
miss,
defense.
but the defense comes up, stops him. I think it's going to be a loss. So it'll be 4th down. Aiken will punt.
And Tyshawn Butler, one of the defensive tackles, was in there on that defense, number 52. They read the screen well, made a nice tackle.
So 2 deep for South Aiken.
Trustin Ingram, number 31, is the punter. Low snap.
Gets this off. It's going to be up short. And I'm not sure what South Aiken was thinking. That was the wide receiver, Mays.
Mays. He had an idea to catch that one, didn't he? Or try to pick it up and go.
Or catch it on a hop. With the football, you never know. So here's South Aiken starting again from the 35-yard line. This is where they've started most of the night. with varying results. They had great results in the beginning of the game, not so much since. Now they do throw the ball out of that formation, and that's high and behind the receiver.
And almost had a defender in a good position to intercept that ball.
It was intended for McGee. Now, South Aiken, again, not known for their ability to throw downfield.
They haven't done it so far this year very effectively.
They may want to try a screen pass if they're going to throw passes. And there's a keeper. Now, this has been successful. This one, and Sanders tough to bring down. He's going to pick up 7 yards, maybe 8. Looks like he'll be 3 yards short. 3rd down and 3.
We got 1 minute and 42 seconds left in the third quarter. It's not panic time by any means, but it would be nice if South Aiken could get a drive. They'd enjoy that.
There's a run, dragging him. Somebody hits him hard.
Well,
right at the 1st down marker.
I'm going to say a name that made that tackle. This is going to not surprise you. Jeremiah Green. He's been all over the field tonight.
They're going to spot it right at the 30 or the 45. They needed to make the 45 to get the 1st down. I think they're going to bring the chains out and measure it.
While they're measuring, North Augusta pulling away from BC just a little bit, 43 to 26, I believe.
Well, that should be safe territory for North Augusta. And it's a 1st down. So South Aiken moves the chains on 3rd down. 3rd down conversion. Channeled off from 1st and 10 from the 45. And let's see if South Aiken can get some momentum started here. As you said, plenty of time, but at some point you have to start worrying about it. 1:12 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Now trying to throw a fade. He throws it a little short. Receiver tried to jump up and take it over to the top of the defender, which was Porter.
Here's a good score for our local team, 30-6. Strom Thurmond over Edisto at the moment. Looks like Strom's got things rolling tonight.
Understand they started with a fire delay. That brings back memories of Silver Bluff.
That was something a few years ago.
A fire ant delay, we're being told now. Those pesky fire ants, somebody must have really fired them up, and then they took the field, and they start stinging you. You don't want to play.
Oh, shoot. Heck
I
no.
wonder what they did with that. Run out with an exterminator? Fire ant delay. Only at Edisto. Maybe that's part of the floods. I don't think Edisto is. That's not Edisto Beach, by the way. That's Edisto River. And I don't think they experienced any flooding in this last go-round.
Parts of the states were very, very lucky. weren't they?
Aiken gets a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct. So that'll be a 15-yard penalty. That'll take it into Hornet territory to the 40-yard line.
And just a couple of minutes ago, we said that the penalties hadn't really hurt Aiken too bad.
Well, that one hurts.
That penalty hurts.
And here comes the quarterback, Sanders, on the keeper. He's going to be about a yard short, picks up 9. It's going to be 2nd down and 1.
And C.J. Hazel on the stop. This is reminiscent of the first time we saw South Aiken this year, and Sanders had a nice game running the football. He's got 6 running touchdowns this year.
High five South Aiken. I keep it on the ground. And they give it to Butler. Butler gets outside. He's going to pick up the first down and more. He's going to be inside the 20-yard line.
That's a
South
nice
Aiken is on the move with 23 seconds left to go here in the quarter. They won't have to run another play. They may choose to let this wind down and start the fourth quarter at the other end of the field.
Now that's a shame right there. Okay. Butler is very excited when he got up. He's starting to celebrate a little bit, and I believe he stepped on or created some problem for this defender here.
That looks
Maybe
like
it's
a
just
cramp.
Yeah, it looks like a cramp now.
And that's Porter that's on the field. We got an injury timeout. It's a Aiken Regional Medical Center timeout. We'll take it with them and be back and report on Porter's status.
I knew he was in trouble. I didn't really know that it was a heart attack, but I knew he was in trouble. His right coronary artery was 99% blocked and already collapsed.
So within 10 minutes, they had put a stent in.
I'm so glad that we made that decision to go to Aiken Regional right away.
We definitely made the right decision in going to Aiken Regional.
I don't think we could have gotten better care.
They're still attending to Porter on the field. We think it's a cramp, but it's taking a little longer and see how he is. While we had this break, want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Scott Hunter's family, his daughter Eleanor, and everybody who loves Scott. Scott was a longtime publisher at Aiken Standard. He's actually spent his whole entire adult life, his career, working at Aiken Standard. I met Scott when I was in 15, 16 years old. My father was coaching a Pony League All-Star team, and that's my first memory of Scott Hunter, as he came to that to cover the Pony League game. And Richard Smith said, "Why you call him Scott?" And I said, "Because that's his name." He said, "His name is Chip Shots." And he had a column about golf called Chip Shots. And Scott always remembered Richard and always remembered that story. We'd laugh about that. And Scott was a good friend. We're going to miss him a lot. He was a great person, former Man of the Year for Aiken. And it's a sad day, but we'll celebrate his life tomorrow at First Presbyterian at 10 o'clock in the morning. And everybody at Aiken Standard very sad over the passing of a good friend of ours. All right, back to the game. South Aiken throwing for the end zone fade. Did he come up with it?
Yeah, they're going to call that pass interference.
A little face guarding there, got in his face.
And there was a pass a couple plays ago that I thought they might call it then, but that one I think is fairly obvious.
Pass interference against Aiken High. I think that's a half the distance penalty. We'll take it inside the 10-yard line. Chandler Law from first and goal from the 9. South Aiken 9 yards out from the Tyler Tire end zone and tying this ball game with an extra point. Hands off.
Good
Butler
hole.
outside. He's going to score. Touchdown.
Nice blocking scheme there on the off-tackle play to the left.
So
well executed.
28-27, extra point to come, and that very reminiscent of what we saw in the first quarter. So South Aiken finally wakes up here at the end of the third quarter with only 8 seconds left. They'll try for the extra point to tie this ball game up, and these things have been adventures this year too. Kicks up, and it's good. We're tied at 28 all. South Aiken, after leading 21-0, sees their lead dissipate to a Aiken High lead as they scored 28 unanswered points, but South Aiken answers here at the very end of the third quarter, and we're tied at 28. Looks like we're going to have a good fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, I think we are going to have a good fourth quarter.
We wouldn't have bet on that in the first quarter.
No, this has turned into a nice ball game, and the second quarter and third quarter up until this last drive, not very kind to South Aiken. All right, that was quite a comeback, and Aiken did a nice job taking the lead. Now let's see if they can move the football when they get it back this time.
Just as much as we're giving Aiken credit for coming back and taking the lead, you got to give South Aiken credit. They had the 2 turnovers. Everything seemed to be going wrong. They could have pouted about it, but they answered the call and get it tied up before we go to the fourth quarter. So Platt will kick.
Look out, look out.
And
that was a nice attempt by South Aiken there.
A little short kick, no fair catch.
Short kick, and he was trying to get down there and recover it. Pretty neat little play. Nice kick by the kicker Platt.
34-yard line. Maybe we'll call that the 32. So the 32, Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10 for Aiken High. They'll run one play, I suppose, and we'll head to the other end of the field. Wallace has been outstanding leading this comeback as the quarterback for Aiken High. Crowd making noise. And off to Green. Green makes some people miss. He does well to get back to the line of scrimmage, I think. He may have lost a yard, but that'll be the final play of the third quarter. And what a game we have. We're tied at Haygood Stadium, 28-all, as we head to the fourth quarter. We'll take a break and come back for the big finish when we return on the Aiken Standard Game of the Week.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With the revolutionary Michelin Premier tire, even when half worn, it's still safe, thanks to EverGrip technology. The Michelin Premier tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
All right, Aiken High huddles up. They'll have 2nd down and 10 as we're still waiting for the officials to move the ball back down to the north end of the field.
Got a little smoke action going on down here now, don't we?
Yeah, it's the South Aiken side. They're trying to get the whiteout going, I do believe.
I guess they did. Yeah, we had the whiteout over there, and that's white. All right, and we had the Aiken crowd that we've already pictured a couple times. They were painted up in the midriff and
somebody's going to have a big celebration when this is done.
That's right.
And at this point, it's anybody's ball game. Ed Gerardo along with the coach, Ken Brace. Eric Russell, Trip Gerardo in the truck. Not sure who's doing what. We'll work on getting our instant replay fixed during the week. All right, here we go. 2nd down and 10.
Fourth quarter.
Back to pass. Got some time. Looking down, going for the home run. He's got a man down there. He overshoots him. He had number 5, Demetrius Preston, on the fly.
And it looked like Preston had just hesitated just a little bit, okay? And the ball was just a little overthrown, but close. And they had 2 receivers. They had a man in the middle of the field also wide open.
They had the defense beat. So it'll bring up 3rd down and 10. And they may have softened him up a little bit and make them realize you got to take the deep ball, but they need 10 yards. Need to get to the 42-yard line, 42 and a half. And here comes the rush. Comes up, has a man wide open. Oh, what a catch. He kept his feet and is complete at the 46-yard line.
That's Austin McKay again.
And Austin McKay doesn't just kick, he catches them too. What a catch.
And 1st down.
stretched out, kept his feet in bounds. Ball's at the 45-yard line. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10.
And give Wallace credit for finding him. When you're scrambling around, sometimes you can't pick up your receivers. Did a nice job there with McKay.
See if they go back to the ground game a little bit here. 1st down. Yep, back to pass. Here comes the pass rush. Quickly threw it out and hit his receiver, and he's in open field. And now with a block, he may take it the distance. He's going to go the distance. Touchdown, 55 yards for Aiken High. And Charvis Jones able to take that one. It looked like a sack was coming. What a play.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how he was able to get that off, and I don't know how the receiver was able to take that all the way. What a play is right.
So just when you think South Aiken may have regained the momentum, Aiken pulls one out 55 yards. Jones takes it to the house. And it wasn't a 55-yard pass. I think it was a pass right at the line of scrimmage. He was under heavy pressure and turned around and whipped through it.
And there's Jones' record for the season so far, 18 receptions, 358 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I'm sure he just added to that total.
And he missed the extra point. Now, that may be big. As I said, these aren't gimmies on this level. When they're kicking this many, they tend to get a little bit on the apprehensive side. So that's a big miss. Aiken leads 34-28, but now South Aiken, a touchdown and an extra point, would take the lead.
They have had 2 huge plays, and I'm referring to Aiken, long touchdown runs or pass and runs. And the one that he threw when he was rolling to his left, Wallace threw it about 45 yards in the air there, and Porter caught that one in the end zone. This one, very short pass while he was running for his life, just barely gets it out there, and Jones takes it all the way. What a play. When good things are happening, good things happen.
So a big homecoming crowd here at Aiken High, and they're happy now, and they've got 11 minutes and 36 seconds left to go home happy. And the people who left early, like Bill Bentley, are sitting at home watching us on this going, why did I leave?
Now you just think he left early.
Well, he's not sitting in his seat, and I know Bill. He sits in his seat.
Okay.
So here we go again.
McKay to kick off.
Kicks it away.
Another good kick.
Yeah, he's in the end zone.
Yes,
Automatic touchback. So South Aiken will, I think, if Aiken can keep from having a 15-yard penalty, South Aiken will start at the 20-yard line. Last time they kicked it in the end zone, a 15-yard penalty after the kick took them out to the 35. So finally, Aiken keeps South Aiken pinned back. Their worst starting position this evening after a kick.
And anytime you have to go 80 yards in high school football, it's a challenge. Let's see what they can do with it.
Sanders, shotgun, takes a snap, drops back to pass, a screen pass. Gets it out there, can't make the tackle now. Here goes Butler, he's in the open field. Makes 3 or 4 men miss, and he's going to gain about 20 yards out to the 40-yard line. And what a play.
And I'll tell you what, Butler's got some speed too. He's had a good ball game tonight.
And that was the play that I was calling for, that the downfield passing for South Aiken, not very good, but the screen pass with Aiken in hot pursuit.
And we've got a player down
there,
and this could be another cramp.
So we've got another Aiken Regional Medical Center timeout on the field. We'll take a break, and we'll come back and tell you his status when we return.
I always ask myself, would I want me to represent me? Would I want a lawyer who is prepared, who is passionate, who is capable? And every day that we represent our clients, we're telling our clients that you can count on us to bring every skill, every ability, and all of our passion in representing your interests. That's what it means to count on Chandler. That means that you can count on us to fight for you.
Aiken Ophthalmology provides high quality, comfortable, and dependable treatment in Aiken and North Augusta. With our newly expanded facility, we now have 4 experienced physicians that are up to date on the latest procedures, and our surgery center offers the finest eye care technology available to better serve you. Make your appointment today with Aiken Ophthalmology.
The injured player is Sammy McDuffie. He had cramps, it appears, and he's off the field. South Aiken again completes a pass. This time, a little outside route, gained 11 yards, I believe.
Looked like a first down.
They may have spotted him just short. Yep, they was right at it, 10 yards.
They're moving them.
Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. Ball's at the 48-yard line. And South Aiken going quick now. Aiken able to hit hard, no gain. But it was Butler. Maybe gained a yard.
Butler's a bit excitable out there at times.
They're actually going to say he lost a yard. 1st down and 11. Actually, he's right at the yard marker. So 2nd down, 10. Ball at the 47-yard line. Sanders directing the backfield. He's ready. And he's going to take it. He finds a hole. He's going to gain big yardage.
That's a nice run.
That's about 14 yards as he goes into Hornet territory all the way down to the 37-yard line. That's a pickup of 16 yards. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. Got a good push at the line, but Aiken able to hold it. Got inside the 35 down to the 33. Pick up a 4 yards. 2nd down, 6.
And that was Ryan's. We've only called his name a few times tonight. Picked up just a short gain.
You mentioned earlier he was 5'4".
Yeah.
You can really see this now.
Butler back in the ball game now.
And here comes Butler. Butler running hard, but hit hard. He got to the 30-yard line. Pick up 3 more. It's going to bring up a 3rd down. Big 3rd down play. Picked up a couple yards. 3rd down and 5. Point in the game, you might guess that South Aiken would take 2 plays to pick this up.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it's 4-down territory for sure.
Don't be surprised if we get the quarterback keeper. That's been very successful. But he's going to hand off, and this is Ryan's. Ryan's breaks through. He's got room to run. He may take it to the house. No, down at the 5. Caught by the last man who could get him. Knocked him down right at the 5. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and goal from the 5 for South Aiken as they look to not only tie it, but with the missed extra point, take the lead here in the 4th quarter.
And Jeremiah Green saved the touchdown momentarily at least. He's had a great ball game tonight. He's going in.
Going to walk in.
Yeah,
touchdown
easily.
for Jesse Sanders. Faked it to Ryans, who just made the big gain, and he walked in. Another touchdown for Jesse Sanders. Sanders has had a big night running the football.
Impressive drive by South Aiken. Come right back, find themselves down in the 4th quarter, take the ball on the 20, go 80 yards. Very impressive.
All right, 34 all. The extra point is big. This will give South Aiken the lead. Kicks up. It's good, and South Aiken regains the lead that they once had at 21-0. They lost it tied it up, lost it again, and now lead 35-34. Clock shows 8 minutes and 14 seconds left. Plenty of time for Aiken, but how heartbreaking would it be to lose this game on this extra point? Aiken just been snake bit. You know, in the back of their minds they're thinking about it, but they've still got plenty of time to get down the field. They need a field goal, not just a touchdown. Now, on the kicking side, Platt kicking off has been kicking it short, pooching it, and Aiken has not handled it well. They fumbled one and had a turnover with that, and they seem to struggle. And let's see, he's capable of kicking it, and Aiken's not showing people deep. Green is back, standing at the 25-yard line. And surely they'll see that.
They've got to get one more player out there, I believe, too.
You're right. There's only 10 out there.
No, there's one more. You just can't see him. I just picked him up on the far sideline. I can't believe they're going that short.
He ought to kick it away here.
Yes, indeed.
And he kicks it far. Now, they're lollygagging it back, 10-yard line. And of course, these turn into big plays sometimes. And he gets it back to the 21-yard line. But whew, Green was trotting back like he assumed that was going to be a touchback.
I was surprised that they didn't have anybody deep.
So Aiken High will take over Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10 at the 21, and there's an injured South Aiken player on the field as they come out to see about him. So we've got another Aiken Regional Medical Center timeout on the field. And we're hoping this is cramps as well. It is muggy out tonight. It's not particularly hot. I went out running this morning at 8:30. It was 70 degrees. Felt great, but after running, that humidity doesn't make it exactly cool.
And this does not look like a cramp, Ed. This looks like maybe an ankle.
All right, so we've got a player. Well, let's see. If they're helping him up, they got him up. We won't take a break. But again, we thank our sponsor, Aiken Regional Medical Center, for sponsoring us on our injury timeouts. Tyler Hudson is the injured player, and he's limping, but doesn't seem to be holding up a knee or an ankle. So now South Aiken, whose defense came in, we were talking about how good they were. Aiken, 34 points on the board on this defense. They've got Aiken backed up. Let's see what Wallace can do with this. A little over 8 minutes left. Looks to his left, looks to his left. Now he's going for the home run. He has a man out there. He may be able to just off his fingertips.
Wow.
And once again, that was Jones. Whew. That's one that you just go, wow. Maybe you dive and try to bring it in.
That could have only been, what, 2 or 3 inches long?
It touched his fingertips.
It was a heck of a pass.
So 2nd down and 10. That's a long, noisy out, as we would say in baseball.
And Aiken did a nice job on Harrison. Number 8 is a big-time rush.
And we haven't called his name at all, really.
Well, they double-teamed him that time, and they were able to hold him out.
It's again straight drop back. Now he just moves around him, throws it out of bounds. He was intended for Bynum, but threw it out of bounds, nowhere where anybody could catch that. And you were talking about 8, Harrison. Ziggy was in there, and very quickly Wallace got around him. But Ziggy was after him.
He sure was. Chased him out of the pocket anyhow, and he was able to elude him, but didn't have a great shot at making a completion there.
So 3rd down and 10, big 3rd down here. Aiken was able to convert And the 55-yard touchdown, well, I don't believe that was third down on that one. But they've had some big conversions on third down. And here comes the rush right in, and a great catch by Bynum.
Wow. I'll tell you what, this is exciting. Those kids are making some great plays on both teams.
Man, Bynum, that you could almost feel the hit coming, and he was able to hang on, turn it upfield, and make extra yardage all the way up to the 40-yard line. That's a pickup of 20 yards. Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. Aiken's in business.
At the defender was in good position too. It was not like he was wide open. That had to be a perfect throw and really a terrific catch.
The South Aiken brought a middle linebacker on a blitz. He was free, right in his face, made the throw, made the catch, and here he comes again, gets it away, he throws this one out of bounds.
Yes, he did. He did throw that one away. Smart.
And now Wallace is laying on the field. And I think the coaches wanted a roughing penalty perhaps. No call. And I was looking upfield.
I was too. We were both looking upfield to see whether it was going to be caught.
And now we've got another Aiken Regional Medical Center timeout, but may have knocked the breath out of him.
Yeah, it looks like what happened. I think he's okay.
Now he's going to have to go to the sidelines, or Aiken will have to call a timeout. He's going to take a play off. It's a 2nd down and 10 coming up. Let's see if they make him sit out a play.
I would think they would.
I think they are. And he's trying to go back in. He's going back in. And
they may just say.
They're going to let him go back in.
No, they're sending him off.
All right. So let's see what Aiken does with this. 2nd down and 10. Their quarterback has to go sit out a play.
Well, they're putting the ball in the hands of a pretty good athlete, and that's Jeremiah Green. Oh, no, it's McKay. McKay is the backup. He'll give it to Green.
They have his backup, and Green makes good yardage.
Yes, he did.
He's going to pick up 5 yards. He's at the 45-yard line. And here comes Wallace back in the ball game. So McKay does his job. 3rd down and 5. So now Wallace needs to pick up the final 5 yards.
Everybody checking their play sheet.
Big 3rd down, another big 3rd down. They picked up 20 on the last one. Oh, go. This is Jones. Jones makes a good run, going to pick up the 1st down into thoroughbred territory.
You know, we've seen that a couple times. There's great penetration. I mean, they've got defenders in the backfield, deep in the backfield, and somehow these backs for both teams have been able to slip through it and make good yardage.
So the ball's at the 47-yard line. Another Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10.
1st down.
Clock ticks down.
We've got to finish here, Coach.
6:18. Looks to his left, throws in the backfield. This is Jones. Jones makes a man miss, stays on his feet. What a run.
Beautiful balance, beautiful balance.
Picks up 7 yards. Going to be 2nd down and 3.
Outstanding play.
Green checks back in, but Jones really coming up strong in this game.
Yes, he is. Good to see that, and it's a young player. He's a sophomore.
Aiken meticulously going down the field. The clock becomes an issue, not on this drive, but South Aiken not going to have a whole lot of time left if Aiken continues this drive and scores. Rolls to his right. Looks, throws, has a man. Bynum catches it, pushed out of bounds around the 20-yard line, and they're going to move the chains. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. 5:18 left to go in the ball game.
Very impressive.
Aiken saving the best for last here. They've had some big plays that chunks, but this is a sustained drive. And we had Wallace have to sit out a play.
Yes, he did.
Green stays in the backfield.
Another first down.
On the right. 2 split wide on each side.
Uh-oh.
Fumble.
Oh.
They picked it up and sacked. I don't know if that's a sack or
Very
just
fortunate.
a missed assignment there of handing it off.
Very, very lucky. That could have been disastrous.
So a loss of 5 yards. 2nd down, 15.
Tyshawn Butler in there, number 52. They've had a nice drive here. That would have been a painful way to end it.
Taking their time, letting the clock run. And this may get down to now or never for Aiken High. They're going to need to score here. Back to pass. Going into the end zone. Got a man out there, but throws it over everybody. It's going to be 3rd down and 15. That one he kind of just chunked and let it fly.
Yeah, and good pressure on him that time. Had people in his face. Pretty tough throw.
I think they're probably too far out to try to field goal from here. This may be 4-down territory as well. Of course, Mackey looks like he's got a strong leg.
It would be a long one for high school, but he might be able to do it.
Back to pass. Here comes the blitz. He throws it, and that's going to be interference. Yeah, here comes the flag. South Aiken came over the back, and that was interference.
There were a lot of people in the press box screaming for that before the ref threw the flag, and he did throw the flag. Big break for Aiken.
Well, we are in Aiken's press box.
Yeah, they've had a couple of vociferous reactions tonight.
Yeah, we go to a lot of press boxes, and I make fun of this one a little bit. Like, it's very comfortable right now. As interference called against South Aiken is the call. But we go to some where we're all sitting on top of one another. You can't hear yourself think. We're sort of secluded down here on this end.
I would say now they're in field goal range.
Certainly. They did miss the extra point, and that's going to be looming in his mind. Ball spotted at the 14-yard line, 13-yard line. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. No, he didn't get a first down. It's 3rd down.
3rd down.
They did the walk-off. Half the distance. Oh, bad snap again. They hand off. South Aiken's going to hold Aiken here. It's going to bring up 4th down.
That's going to be very close. This is going to be a big call.
Be a measurement. 4 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in the ball game.
That's a great effort by the running back again, Green. He was hitting the backfield, fought like crazy, and he may have the first down. It's going to be very, very close.
They're making an announcement that no one will be allowed on the field after the game except for the players and coaches. And that's interesting. That's sort of a go back to South Aiken and North Augusta last year, where we saw North Augusta last week not shake hands after the game again.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken that stance that they're not going to get into that mess anymore. I imagine these two will shake hands after the game, but they're not going to let the fans come out there and run around and celebrate, which is probably a safe thing to do.
You know, but they watch it in college, and you watch the college games, boy, and after a big game, they're all out on there.
Well, Kentucky, you see Kentucky at the Mississippi State?
And
they got fined $100,000
is that
for going down the field.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Woo. And they did that against South Carolina a couple years ago.
If some of these kids at the end wanted to come out there, I don't think they'll have $100,000 to pay for it.
So they were just inches short. The field goal unit is on the field, so they will kick for the lead here, 35-34.
Wow.
Mackey, who's shown a strong leg, he missed the last extra point.
He can definitely kick it this far. I don't think that's the issue. They got to get a good snap, good blocking, and he's got to make a nice kick.
High snap kick held down.
And it
it's
got
up.
blocked. It
And
got
it's
blocked.
South Aiken is held
Wow.
Aiken High on the field goal, but there are 4 minutes exactly left in this ball game, so Aiken still got time to stop South Aiken. Question is, can they stop that running game, especially Sanders running up high?
Wow.
So that
Something.
silences the crowd.
Yes, and tough call. They were within inches. They've got a good kicker.
I can't blame the coach.
No, I don't. I'm not blaming the coach. I'm just saying
You got to go for that and take the lead if you can. You don't want to leave with not getting it on fourth down, though it's tempting. I agree.
Oh, he had to think about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. And here comes the quarterback, Sanders. He's in open field. He slides down, picked up the first down out from the shadow, now out to the 32-yard line. They'll move the chains, and the best thing is it'll keep the clock running. Now it's a clock that South Aiken is trying to beat. Actually, at some point, Aiken might consider just let them go ahead and score, kick the extra point, be 8 points, and see if you can come down here and get 8 points on the board. You hate to lose by 1 point. There's some movement up front, and I believe that'll be a false start on South Aiken, 5-yard walk-off, so it'll be 1st and 15. And I know that one thing both these coaches will do is go back and work on the penalties. Boy, they both had a lot of penalties, despite the fact they've scored 69 points.
I thought you were going to say they're going to try to run this clock out, but at some point here, Aiken's got to use a couple of timeouts too.
And there's another big run.
Yeah.
I believe that's Ryan's. Ryan's on the carry. Let's see how much yardage he picked up. He picked up about 8, and it'll be second down and 7. Keeps again. And he keeps it. He does a good job picking up his feet.
Yeah, he does. And he
stepping over people.
And it does a nice job seating that ball in the running back's belly and then taking off himself. Good ball handler.
Now, the Greenwood game, I made the comment that he's like a Tebow type quarterback.
I think that's right. I think that makes sense.
And as this game's progressed, he looks more and more that way, of just somebody that doesn't look like he's moving that fast, but man, they have a hard time bringing him down. They move the chains. Chandler Law Firm 1st and 10. Aiken getting to a desperation time now.
That's exactly the word I was going to use. They're going to be desperate.
And there it goes. This may be, well, it might have been better just to let him score, quite frankly. Ryan's big yardage, pulls it inside the 20. And surprisingly, the Aiken people are leaving. 2 minutes, 14 seconds now. South Aiken can play stall ball at this point. Now, timeout is called.
No one is allowed on the playing field after the contest tonight except for coaches.
Oh, there's an injured player. I was going to say, is there an injured player on the field? Another Aiken Regional Medical Center timeout. Another cramp, I do believe.
I think you're right about that.
I think it's Demetrius Preston.
Yep.
So we've got a Aiken Regional Medical Center timeout. We'll take it and come right back and tell you the status of Preston.
I had back issues for a while. I kept going back with different complaints. My doctor, he said, surgery's not going to do you any good. So I would recommend to you therapy. After therapy, I'm a lot better. I'm so grateful for that. I'm a lot better. Thanks to Aiken Regional Hospital for the joy that was put back into my life. Now I'm able to get on the floor and play with the children. And it's just a relief.
And that looks like cramps. So they'll get him up and get him back to the sidelines. When we return to action, it's 2 minutes and 14 seconds left to go. And they ran him out of bounds. That looks exactly like cramps.
It is cramp. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
And if you haven't ever had them, you just don't know. Because it really is a painful thing to have. Still get them from time to time. Wake up in the middle of the night, whew.
Yeah, and you just can't walk with them. I mean, it's
get up and fall down. And I always had them in my calves for years, but in the last year or so, I've got them in the shin, in the front. Oh,
really?
Oh man,
that's kind of unusual.
Chandler Law Firm, 1st and 10. They're waiting for Preston to get to the sidelines. All right, here we go. And did not start the clock. Last week they're running out of bounds. Sometimes they wind it, and sometimes they wouldn't. Short gain.
That was Butler.
Now Aiken going to call a timeout.
Yeah, they got to start using them, unfortunately. Got to save some clock. We're right at the 2-minute mark, 2:03.
I still would be tempted at this point, on this point of the field, to let them score. If they kick the extra point, it's still a 1-score game. They can go with a 2-point conversion if they can get down the field, save the clock, see if you can pull this one out.
That'd be a pretty gutsy call.
Now you see it in the college game now. They're making that call and letting teams score to get the ball back. Because right now, South Aiken could start just running it in the ground. Again, I can't read this scoreboard to tell you how many timeouts there are. I figured out that I think Aiken has 1 timeout left, if I'm reading that correctly. Yeah, timeout left, 1. So Aiken's only got 1 more timeout. It's 2nd down. If South Aiken just got a 1st down, they wouldn't have to run another play. They could let the clock run out. And I'm not sure he didn't just fall down.
After watching him in this ball game, I would say that's highly unlikely.
It just that he fell down inside the 5, and now game's over. They'll move the chains. Chandler Law Firm 1st and goal. And Aiken calls the timeout. That's their last timeout, so it's 1st down. Just take a knee.
Well, they got 1:54 again.
Well, it's 25 seconds a shot. 25 would be. So they may not be able to run the entire clock out by just taking a knee. But again, you give them back. If you kick the extra point and you're up by 8, you're giving Aiken a chance. You got 3 plays. And you're probably going to use 1 minute and 30. You'd be less than 30 seconds on 4th down. And you're inside the 5. That'd be pretty tough for Aiken to go the length of the field. But again, they'd have a shot. And they've been throwing long passes. Just a thought.
I hear you.
Coach, what would you do?
I'm putting it in the end zone if I can.
The one thing about that is you cannot lose if you kick the extra point. They may pull out some miracle and tie it.
Yeah. I take my chances.
And they're going to.
Oh,
he fell down. I told
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
So
right. They're
let's
running
see.
it out.
They'll reset that clock, and let's see when he starts it. Okay, he starts it. They're on the 1 yard line, 25 This will take it down to right outside the minute mark, and it's second down. I think they can get it down inside 10 seconds at the very least. And he's got the clock right in front of him. Should be able to see that. That was interesting. I think that's the play here. Is run right there, stop at the one.
Geez.
And I think Aiken is willing to let him score and realize now they can't stop the clock. This is the play. If nothing else, you run the clock out. Now, you might score right here on third down. Clock will be down to about 30 seconds.
Well, if they've done it twice, they'll probably just keep doing it. I don't like it, but they'll probably do it.
It's third down. Well, you do it on fourth down. You certainly do it here. You don't like it.
I don't like it.
If you run the clock out, you win.
I don't like it. You're going to win anyhow.
And he stops right at the 1 yard line. That's amazing. All right, so it's fourth down. The clock is down to 30 seconds, and they start the clock, and the game's over. I was right.
You were right. I don't like it, but you're right.
So I think they'll be able to keep everybody off the field now.
Yeah, that's
disappointing.
A tough loss.
And it's
Tough
disappointing
loss.
for Aiken to lose by 1 point.
Yes, indeed.
On a missed extra point, and the missed field goal, much less.
Well, the field goal got blocked. I mean, you can't do much about that.
Now I'm not sure why they stopped the clock at 6 seconds. I don't know if they've got a malfunction or whatever, but the officials are going to call it over. They're saying run it. I don't know what they're doing. The kids are heading to midfield. Whether the clock says 0 or not, it doesn't matter. This game's over. Aiken High, it's a heartbreaking loss for Aiken High. They haven't won since 2016. To lose this way is awfully tough to your rival. South Aiken, on the other hand, wins for the third time in a row, 3 games in 3 years. The second time in school history that South Aiken has beaten Aiken 3 years in a row. But what a game.
It was a good game. It was a good football game. Highlights for both teams. They both have kids that are talented. They got skills. They can run like crazy. The quarterbacks both did a nice job. Sanders primarily running the football, and certainly Wallace throwing the football. The kickers were both good. The defenses came up with some stops, and it was an exciting ball game. And it's a heartbreaker for Aiken, and I feel for those kids. They've been through a lot. The coaches have been through a lot, and you come within inches of being able to possibly win the football game. Okay, that's tough to take.